Smoke one spliff, get eye to the rhythm. Smoke one spliff while you're waiting for Jeran. Smoke one spliff, get eye to the rhythm. Smoke one spliff while you're waiting for Jeran. Smoke one spliff, get eye to the rhythm. Smoke one spliff while you're waiting for Jeran. Smoke one spliff, get eye to the rhythm. Jeran, we waiting for Jeran.
Wait no more. It is I'm here. Don't go too far. We got a great show for you today. It's going to be a fun one. Let me get my screens all ready for you. On the screen, you'll see some links that you can find me at. Of course, $Jeranism if you want to support with the Cash App. Do that. And thank you, Conspiracy Music Guru, for that fantastic song. What are we doing today? Well, we're doing episode number 5. It is a former flat earther telling you 8 easy facts that falsify the flat earth. So it should be a fun one. I'm trying to see what we have here. Yes, we do. Good. All right. So let me get to that. We're going to get to that. We also have the Dirtball of the week. We've got that coming up. All kinds of fun. Let me check the poll. Say it a little bit in the chat. Let me get over there. Let's see. The poll question was today, which best describes you? And I listed 4 things. Either were you a globe believer in 2024 and then you're still a globe believer? Were you a globe believer in 2024 and now you're a flat earther? Were you a 2024 flat earther and now you're still flat? Or are you a flat earther who is now a 2025 glober? So the looks like globe is 50% of the audience. So now it's down to 49, but 50%. Actually, somebody's claiming to be a globe earther who became a flat earther. That's pretty incredible. And we've got a 36% people remained flat, and 11% of the people joined me in being a former flat earther. So I don't know who those people are. I don't know if they will come out and admit it or not. But hey, so be it. So be it. Let's see who else is in the chat. Who do we got in there? Do I recognize anybody? Hey, where's Wally? I recognize somebody. Well, he's not a flat earther, though. Scoondrel, I think that... Is that you, Claptrap? I don't even understand the name. Should I get it? Is it something I should know what you're talking about? Who knows? Culture Cat's in the house. What's up? We've got Melodome. He's part of the 11% gang. Welcome. Welcome to the 11%. It's very, very lonely over here. I'll tell you that much. So we're going to be going through these 8 ways, or these 8 facts. And believe me, there's much more. So it's not like these are the only 8 that'll do it for you. I think that you can actually figure it out many, many different ways. But I want to help you if at all possible because, hey, I think I need to. Let me get this on the screen instead of that. There we go. All right. Good. And yeah, the numbers are dwindling. I see that. Everybody thought, they want to call me every name in the book or call me a shill. I mean, it's just getting pretty ridiculous. So all I got to tell you guys is to strap in. And I'll tell you straight off the bat that I, Jaren, am guilty. Okay? Guilty as charged. What is my crime? Well, my crime is telling the truth to the truth community. You got to be kidding me. That's right. So strap in because I'm about to lay out 8 simple, undeniable, reality smacking you right in the fat face facts that absolutely obliterate flat earth. It sucks to have to be the one to do it, but if nobody else is going to do it, if everyone else is going to just lie to you, guess what? It's got to be me. So when I say simple, I mean that these are so simple that even a guy with a, research flat earth tattoo on his forehead will get this one. Let me bring this over here for you. And we've got, there we go. Oh, look at the office is looking mighty fine. That's nice. We've got, or the studio. This is not CGI. This is not green screen. This is the actual background. You can actually touch the fake bricks if you want. But I wouldn't let you in the house, so you're probably not going to get to touch them. Just letting you know that. Let's get over to the unplugged screen. Jaren, you can lose these people without any regret. They're not worth being upset about. Well, I've kind of noticed, people you thought were friends that really aren't. So, yeah, it's not like I'm terribly broken up about it. I guess what I'm most upset about is just people that believe you for 10 years, but then you realize, did they ever believe you, or they just believed you because you were saying flat earth stuff? That's the unfortunate part. So none of these facts, none of these 8 things need NASA at all, okay? They're not government mind tricks. They are basic, real world, open your fucking eyes kind of observations of anyone with a functioning brain who just listens and then can go verify themselves, okay? And I get it. Your thing might be, but Jaren, you got to go down there. This is, okay, I get that. So take what I'm saying and use it to go observe the world. And you might find out that we were in fact wrong. But before we start, let me guess that you're already foaming at the mouth. I don't like to look at the chat when I'm going through things because I can already hear it. Freemason, you took the paycheck. Well, listen, my friends. If I was getting paid to push the globe, I'd definitely be doing something else, like, I don't know, sitting on a beach or something, doing something fun. But I'm not getting paid to do this. Just remember that I was one of you just a month ago. Okay. I spent years diving headfirst into all these conspiracies, into the flat earth, into arguing with globers, calling everything perspective. But at a certain point, you get tired of what I would call mental gymnastics, right? So it gets more ridiculous over time. It just becomes a constant circus where you basically have to step back and say, wait a fucking second here. Let's think about this. Could I be the one who's wrong? And when an opportunity was presented to me to go find that out, I took advantage of it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are today. I'm not here to please you, in case you thought that. I'm not here to sugarcoat shit. There's plenty of people that'll do that. I'm here to lay out the 8 undeniable, punch you in the throat, slap you out of delusion facts that if you listen to and gather, you can prove for yourself that the earth is actually a sphere. Okay? So yes, I said it. You heard it here first that Jaron is a globe believer. If that hurts your feelings, I'm sorry. It shouldn't be an issue. I don't care about your beliefs. If you told me you were a globe believer, I'd say, oh, okay. Thanks. And then I would ask you, could you tell me why? Could you give me the reasons why? And if you could present 8 easy for me to understand facts that I'm able to go check myself, then guess what? How could I have anything against you? Right? And this is not because NASA said so. This is not because some government agency told me to say so. This is reality. Reality said to do it. So if you're ready to get your ass handed to you by actual observations, then let's... what's that sound? These are not the best earphones. Anyway, let's get going. It is the best show on Fridays. Every Friday, 3 p.m. It is... What is going on with that? I'm getting some feedback in my earphones, which is not good. Huh. Anyway, let's get started. It is Jeranism Friday Unplugged. Don't go anywhere. We've got an exciting show coming up for you. 8 things, and you can prove for yourself that the earth isn't what we thought it was. Let's go!
F you to the stress, to the grind, F you to the haters. Every time F you to the drama, to the hype, F you to the mainstream, pushing lies. Unplugged from the majors. It's Friday night, unplugged with Mr. Honest and sometimes right. F you to the left, to the right, and F you to the elite parasite. F you to the noise, F you to the fakes, F you to all you weak snowflakes. Friday unplugged, unfiltered and real. Are you offended? How you feel? F you to the sleep, F you to the woke, to the trolls in the chat, you're an effing joke. F you to the sleep, F you to the woke, to the trolls in the chat, you're an effing joke. This ain't a trap house, but your mind's getting drugged. Type of Jeranism Friday Unplugged. This ain't a trap house, but your mind's getting drugged. Type of Jeranism Friday Unplugged.
So, Flat Earthers, I ask you to listen to me one more show and see if we can reach a conclusion together. I think we can. I think that we can do it together. I think that we'll go through a Durant real quick, which are kind of just me spouting off about what the show is going to be about. But like I said, I'm guilty as charged of being a truther, telling the truth to the truth community. And how dare I? How dare I do that? Because it obviously has frustrated many people. And that's one thing that you can't do in the truth community. Who would have thought? In the truth community, you cannot tell the truth to truthers. That's the biggest offense, I guess, because truthers don't actually want the truth. Have you noticed? They want conspiracy. They want the whole world to be a big stage, a script, a giant deception, designed just for you, designed just for them. Because God forbid that something is actually what it appears to be. No. Everything has to be exactly what the truthers say, even though reality may sometimes say different. And guess what? While there's some decent researchers in the truth community, many are terrible. Very bad. So I'm here to kind of, I guess you could call me a lunatic. I mean, you can call me crazy because I'm standing in front of you with the audacity today, the gall to say, hey guys, I maybe made a mistake. Maybe I was wrong. We just got this one wrong. And it's not a big deal. If we all just accept that and move on, there's plenty of other things to research. There's plenty of other things to look into. We were talking last night about how funny it is that we make fun of people who watch sports. And we say, oh, these guys are just wasting their time watching sports. Well, how many people are wasting their time learning about upward rising Earth and wasting their time in a debate, flat Earth versus globe Earth, when at this point, the truth has come to the surface? Okay. What we did is, if you remember, back in the beginning of Flat Earth, and I'm talking 10 years ago, everybody who was involved understood the implications of the South. And what it meant was either they're lying about the South or they're being honest about the South. And if they're lying about it, then Flat Earth is probably the reason. And if they're telling the truth about it, well, then there is no chance of the Earth being flat. Okay, and that's where we stand today. I went down there. I saw it. Okay, and I'm going to give you the ways that you can think about it, and then you'll realize that we got this one wrong. So what did I get for it? What do I get for coming back and telling you guys what I saw? Do I get a, hey, Jaron, thanks a lot for looking into this with an open mind? And no. I get called a shill. I get called a sellout, a Freemason, a Jesuit, a CIA plant. What else have I been heard? An undercover agent, controlled opposition, right? Probably a reptilian or something. I don't know what people have said. Because, of course, that's the only logical explanation. I must be a shape-shifting lizard government agent. God forbid I actually went to Antarctica, saw the sun do some crazy-ass shit, and decided to follow the actual observable reality. Okay? We could have just kept desperately bending over backwards to make a broken model work, but it got disgusting when Stephen Alonso came along deciding to tell you guys lies, and you all backed him and promoted him and pushed him. We have a problem. When we steal from the globe Earth what the globe says the observation should be, we place it on a flat map and say, oh, we predicted that. That's disgusting. It's gross. You should be, knocked out of contention with that. And look, I get it. It's fun. It's fun to think that everything is a conspiracy, that it's fun to feel like you're in the middle of the biggest cover-up in human history. But, like you're Neo or something in the Matrix, dodging government bullets and exposing these great lies. But sometimes, and I'm not saying on all of them, I believe a lot of the same things, but sometimes reality is just reality. And sometimes you realize that, you know what, there's some things they can't fake. One of those things is the shape of the Earth. Okay, and we'll get into that and why that is the fact. But sometimes the truth is actually what the mainstream says it is, mostly because there's no other way it could be. So we're going to get into that, because we're going to talk about how you can't map something. Let's say that you have a flat world and you map it on a sphere. That's fine. You can do that. And you could tell the people, hey, you actually live on a sphere, and they might believe you until it comes to observations. There's no way you can make the observations of the flat plane work on the sphere. It'd be impossible. And that's what we're basically saying happened. And now I realize it cannot happen. It's not possible. So it is actually just true. So the truth community, where questioning NASA is mandatory, I get it. Questioning science is mandatory, I get it. Questioning history is mandatory, I get it. But questioning a theory that some guys on YouTube came up with, blasphemy. Can't do that. So that's where the line is drawn, I guess, and that's the one thing that you can't question. So you know what that is, if you guys don't know? What does that sound like? It is a religion. It is a religion. It's dogma. It's fundamentalist. It's cult level bullshit. Okay? And I ain't playing around anymore. I ain't playing that game anymore. I'd rather be hated for being honest than loved for lying to keep the club happy. Okay? I don't care about the happiness of people who don't want to change their opinions when new facts come to light. So here I am, the ex-flat earther. I'm trying to think if I should call myself the former flat earther. What do you think of that? The TFFE. Oh, just an idea. Anyway, the guy that decided that evidence actually matters more than YouTube subscribers, unfortunately. As you can see from the numbers of how many people are watching this, it's not very many. But if that makes me the enemy, well, what are you going to do? So be it. Don't call me a liar, though. Don't call me a fraud. Don't call me a sellout. Don't call me a shill. Because the only thing that I've done is tell the truth. And the last time I checked, I thought that was the point. But I guess not. So let's get into the reasons. Okay, we got a nice little slideshow for you. If this thing comes off the screen. And let's move this over here. By the way, there is a place that you can ask questions on here. If you want to do that, I'll read the questions at the end. Let me get this on here. We got to change this to off of here onto there. Thumbnail off. Good. And we'll go back to the previous slide. All right. Oh, you guys can't see that yet. Okay, there we go. Do you see that? I think you do. All right. So the web address, if you want to do it, let me click this. It should come on there. There we go. So there you go. If you want to ask a question, you can do that at the slides.app.google /URSFQ. All right. with the use the capital letters that you see there. All right, so let's get into it. It is 8 easy facts that falsify the flat Earth. Number 1 is the South Celestial Pole. Okay, so let's talk about that. The observation is that the South Celestial Pole is stationary. Okay, just like the North Celestial Pole. On a flat Earth, there is no possibility for a South Celestial Pole. What I think that people thought, or what I kind of thought, is that South Celestial Pole moved around the outside of the dome, if you will. And I saw it. Others people saw it. It does not. I actually have here, let me bring these up, some evidence of that so that you can see it. But you can find it all over. Just go look in the internet and look up South Celestial Pole. Now, I get it. 2 months ago, if I would have told you to do that, you'd say, how do we know these people aren't lying to us? And now I'm telling you because I saw it. Okay, I was there. I saw the South Celestial Pole. I watched it in the sky, and it does not move. It is just like the North. Let me see if this one's going to do it. So I'm just pulling up some videos that I have here. Let's see this one. Oh, this is done with a... do I have to download it? Hold on, I have to download these. I thought it would play from here. Doesn't look like it's going to. Do I have to log in? No, I just want to download. Huh. Let me see if I can figure out how to get this. I don't see where you download from. File, download. There we go. That's what I want to do. I don't want to sign in. Thank you. So we got this one and we got another one. I'm going to show you the South Celestial Pole. Just think for a second, though. If there is a South Celestial Pole, don't you think that is one of the biggest evidences against the flat Earth? There cannot be a North Celestial Pole where the stars rotate around one direction and a South Celestial Pole where the stars rotate the other direction on a flat Earth. It just doesn't work. And let me grab this other one. I got 2 of these and see if this one's going to download as easy. Oh, these are just some pictures I see. Okay. And these are, well, let me bring this up. See if we can download these. Download, yes. Okay. So when I show you these are taken, some of these were taken by Duffy, download only, with his 360 camera. I don't know why they're in this format, but they're fine. But that's what you really need to think about, is you need to think about, are we lying about that? Couldn't you just call somebody who lives in the South? Couldn't you just call somebody, if you were watching last night on the Speaker's Corner, the last guy who called in was an amateur astronomer, and well, I guess you can't even say amateur. He's a star watcher lead or whatever. You know, he's basically takes people on star watching tours. And I was able to ask him, there is a South Celestial Pole, and it doesn't move. And he said, absolutely, that it's always in the same spot to him. Where we were in Punta Arenas, I think was 53 degrees, which leaves 37 left to the pole. And again, if you take that 37, multiply it by 69, it comes out to the exact distance of Punta Arenas to the South Pole. Imagine that. So let's see if we get this one up now. And we should be good. Here we go. Good. Okay. Where did this one go? This one's here. Your download will start soon. Yes, it should have already done that. Let me grab it. Okay. So I'm going to bring this up for you to look at. I got to bring up my other screen. Pop player. Let me grab this. Here we go. You move over there. You're in the way. Okay, pop player. All right, so let's look at this. I don't know why. Is that not a circle? Kind of doesn't look like one. All right. So if you look there, you can actually see that the stars are rotating around that one spot. Sorry. Play. Go. And so there is a South Celestial Pole. We've got this one, and then we've got images from there. You can actually, like I said, go and look at what Robert Schwartzman, who's been at the South Pole, what he has shown. And this works perfectly with where we were at Punta Arenas and looking where the South Celestial Pole was there, understanding the amount of, I guess you call it flex, or the amount of change that would happen in that distance. So I'm going to bring up these, and we're going to go here to, oh yeah, over here. I'll show you this one. Thank you. This one here. So Will already put out a video called, what is it called here? Will, the Final Experiments, South Celestial Pole. And that was, I think, one of their 15 experiments. I'm not really sure what their 15 are. But I know that this one is a good one. Let's go over here. Make sure you see that. Pause that. Okay, so now we're going to look over here. What? Why is that so zoomed in? I don't know.
But would be impossible on a flat Earth.
Okay, so this is taken by Robert Schwartz at the South Pole. Okay, now you have to think to yourself, would this just be fake? And what would that mean for the rest of the stars in the south? For instance, I saw the South Celestial Pole. Did I see it right above my head? No, I wasn't at the South Pole. And did I see it at 90 degrees or 80 degrees? No, it was daytime the entire time we were there, so I couldn't see stars. But when I was in Punta Arenas, I did see it, and it stays put. Let's watch here. So you'll see here that we've got a turning sky, just like in the north, going the opposite direction. This, of course, goes clockwise. The opposite direction is counterclockwise in the north. And there is a model that calls for this, actually predicts it, and says it's exactly what you would see if you lived on a sphere. You can actually do this for yourself and see if that's true. That there's not a North Pole star like there is in the north. It's kind of an empty space, as you see here. But that is the South Celestial Pole, and it is spinning around all the stars in the south. So think, we've got two celestial poles in flat Earth, or in the Earth. And flat Earth cannot explain that. Let's look at this picture here to give you an idea of what they say the flat Earth is. Something like this, right? So if it's something like this, and Eric Dubay talks about it here, I think he's actually got a voice clip here. Let me see. Go back to this.
Like Australia or New.
There are different stars in the south. Polaris cannot be seen when you get far enough south.
Globe Earthers are taught that the reason the North Pole star cannot be seen from southern locations like Australia or New Zealand is because it is hidden behind the supposed curvature of their globular Earth.
As they have been very
As for a while, that I wanted to show you something real quick.
vocal that the North Star, Polaris,
Globe Earthers are taught that the reason
So look at this view. It took us within the flat Earth,
North
right?
Pole star cannot be seen from southern locations like Australia.
And when we get down here, look how the stars are sweeping across the sky. Look at the stars as they sweep across the sky. So the flat Earth completely shits the bed here. What we see in the south is a stationary position with the stars going around it clockwise. Yet this right here is supposed to be from inside the flat Earth. Look what's going on. That just has stars going around the outside of a dome. If that's what the observations were, guess what? We would be on a flat Earth.
Is because it is hidden.
Look at that. We are actually watching the stars go around this. Oh, you can't see my mouse. We're watching the stars go around this way. But that's not what happens in reality. I was standing at the edge of this area here, looking up, and there's a spot here where the stars go around like this. Right? That's it. There is no sweeping across the sky.
Behind the supposed curvature of their globular Earth. Similar to what is taught about boats disappearing beyond the horizon, they claim these boats, and the pole star, are disappearing behind the physical curvature of a globe, and insist, if the Earth was truly a stationary plane, that Australians should have no trouble viewing Polaris. The fact...
So, I mean, Eric Dubay is just garbage. He doesn't... he's completely dishonest. Changes his tune, flip-flops. Nobody cares, though, because as long as he speaks flat Earth, you'll always like him. And that's why he'll always continue to just speak the same thing that you already heard him speak. So we've got, let me see if I did bring those up. This would be in here. Let me go to my downloads folder, just so I can show you a couple of these images. Okay, so these are some star trails. Let me see if these will come up. Yeah. So this is just showing you star trails here in the south, but you'll notice that they all go around this point that's in the sky. Okay, and we got, there's some more, and some more. So you see, these are just, wait, you can see that, right? Hopefully, yes. And some more. Okay, so this is the spot in the southern sky. Now, like I said, you don't need NASA for this. You don't need NASA. You don't need an authority figure. Call somebody you know who lives in the south, or search on the internet. Don't look for things that have to do with flat Earth if you think somebody's deceiving you. Just look up South Pole star, South Celestial Pole, or Southern star circles. Okay, we can actually look that up right now if you want. You can actually find them, most of that stuff, like on Vimeo. I see a lot of the time. Let's go, there's more. Okay, so I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to search on, I'm going to put Southern star trails. And you're going to see some from Australia, New Zealand, right? So here's South Celestial Poles from Perth. Let's bring this up. Oh, of course, it's Wolfie. You guys will definitely trust that. Let me go somewhere else. That may not be trusted. Let me get him somewhere else. I mean, now at this point, I think that Wolfie has been, honest about what he's talked about. But I want to show you some other people that have filmed it. Here's star trails in the north and south, north versus south. Star trails around this southern celestial pole with a P900. Let's bring this up, see who did this one. This is by Movie Vertigo, so this is the name of it. She's quiet down. Okay. Oh. So this is showing here. The South Celestial Pole is below the horizon of the Earth. Okay, but the stars are going clockwise around said position, which is Octanus. Let me get another one for you, as there's probably many. Let's go back here. Let's see what we've got here. Identifying that. We've got star trails, time lapse. Here's an Australian one. Let's bring this up. So this is from January 2019. Again, you can choose to deny reality all you want. Okay, you can pretend that this is not real. This kind of almost looks a little bit like what we saw. It was a little bit higher, but you can see here, quiet down. You can see here that the stars are turning clockwise. Now, if you go today in the north and you look at the North Star, you'll notice that the stars turn counterclockwise. Okay, when we're here, we're looking here, they're turning clockwise. Now, remember what we're told, that these stars are sweeping left to right around a dome, but they're going this way. Okay, and pay attention to this because these stars right here are very important. They're called circumpolar stars. Notice that they don't set. None of these stars set. We're going to talk about that. It's one of the 8. Okay, just remember that we've seen them. And that is your star trails. And you can actually kind of see the angle of this. And remember, what would happen if we, right now, started going south? If you started walking south, what would happen to this sky? It would unfold, and you would end up, if you got to the South Pole, directly under the South Celestial Pole. That's what would happen. Okay, let me bring back this. I think we've seen enough of that. You can't really question that at this point. I mean, well, I don't know what you would say. I don't know what the question would be when you say, I don't believe you, Jaron, there's no South Celestial Pole. Then that's just a willful denial of reality. Because you could very easily call somebody and go down there. You don't know anybody in Australia? Call a flat earther in Australia and ask them to take star trails tonight, and this is what it's going to look like. So that point there is what? By the way, that point stays put. It does not move. Okay? So, in Punta Arenas, we observed a fixed point in the sky. It was just there. It proves that it does not sweep across the dome. So therefore, we now have a South Celestial Pole. Only on a sphere could Australia and Africa and South America all see the same South Celestial Pole in their southern sky. Okay, again, think about that. We're told on a flat Earth that, well, it's because it moves, it's because of declination, there's all these excuses, but the overall understanding should be that it's impossible. Take a flat Earth map and look at all those 3 places, South Africa, South America, and Australia. They're all looking south, and I get the argument that I've heard from flat earthers. The argument is usually, oh, but they are all looking at a different time. Doesn't matter about that because the spot is in their southern sky and it stays still. So yes, if you're looking from, let's say, South Africa and South America can both see them at the same time, people will say, oh, but they're different. Yeah, they're different because you're in different locations. But the point is that the South Celestial Pole stays there. Okay, so that is number 1. Looks like we might have a question. We have Tebow who says, can we point out the massive problem of flat earthers clinging to and repeating arguments that have been debunked or explained for years, yet they don't seem to care about the facts? Flat Earth repeats the same ridiculous talking points every time. Yeah, I mean, and hopefully people start to see that. And you would think that as things get debunked, you would move up past that onto something else. That doesn't really happen. Again, the way I got that question is by him typing in the address that you see at the top where it says ask a question. So that is a big one. The South Celestial Pole exists. Fact. I'm not questioning that. I don't have any reserves about saying that. I saw it. Others have seen it. It's one of the easier facts that you can ascertain. The South Celestial Pole exists. The stars go around it the opposite direction. Therefore, what do you think is below the South Celestial Pole? Let's go to number 2. Number 2 on our list is the South Pole exists. Okay? So using solar angles and a sun tilt, I can confirm the existence of the South Pole. Now, it's just like the North Pole. If we know that the North Pole has a star above it named Polaris, that the stars rotate around in a counterclockwise fashion, okay, then if we now see that there's a south celestial pole, that the stars go the opposite direction, can we infer from that that the South Pole exists? What you would have to believe is that there's some sort of a sphere that ends at 90 or 80 degrees and becomes a paradox. Of course, that's not the case, right? Of course not. So Flat Earth struggles to explain how everyone in Antarctica heading south would converge on the same point. I want to bring up a good way to show you that, because I know it gets confusing if I show a flat Earth map and then I show a globe Earth map. You might get confused. Why is he showing a flat Earth map if he's trying to prove the globe or whatever? Do you hear that sound? What is that? All right, we're back. Sorry about that. All right, I don't hear the noise anymore. I don't know if you could hear it too. It's just like a screeching noise in my ears. Very strange. All right, so let's bring up the Shane's model. If we can find it here, shouldn't be this far back, I don't think. Maybe there it is. Shane's model, which is the celestial sphere with, basically it's the celestial sphere put onto a flat map by Walter Bislin, but it is not a representation of reality. Do you see that on the screen? Or no? Yeah, let's make it actually go to just this one, browser solo, so you can see the whole thing. All right, so let me show you what I mean here. If we go down here, I just want you to recognize that if somebody is at a 79 latitude, negative 79, if you will, in the south, which is where we were at Antarctica, we were about there, 79, and then we were about 81, which is about there. Okay, so this is where we were. Now, remember that if we go to the day of the year that we were there, which was 350 something, 355 maybe 52. All right, so you'll see here that the path of the sun is this yellow line here, and that's what we saw. If you go back and look at the footage, we basically saw the sun high in the north and then lowest in the south. You could picture Mount Rossman sitting here in the south and then back up to the north. So here's the thing. If I would have walked south, okay, watch what would have happened to where I was walking. So as I walk south, the sky is going to bend out until go this way. Watch the sun. It's going to bend out till it's balanced. Okay, right there. And when that happens, as the time goes on, you're going to see the sun just going around like that above my head. Okay, so here's what you have to realize is that that is the case for everybody in Antarctica. So again, if I was here again, we're going to move this back to where it was. It's negative 79. Okay, if I walked towards the lowest part of the sky, of the sun, okay, so here I am, let's get inside this little bubble here, okay, and we are watching the sun. Can I see the yellow? Okay, we're watching the sun go around, and you notice that it gets to, I know it gets confusing because of all these lines, but we're watching this sun here. Pay attention to that. Here it comes. It's going to the southern part of the sky. Boom. So that's where it is at the south, the furthest, okay? So if we see that and I walk towards that, again, what's going to happen is I'm going to unbend this until it's balanced above my head, like that. And at that point, you know you're at the South Pole. But that is true for everybody. So if we take this back to negative 79 and we move the longitude around, think about that. All these people, no matter where they're at in the Earth, okay, all the people along the 79th latitude, all could walk south towards the lowest part in the sky. And they would all get to the South Pole. So, I mean, that flat Earth is dead in the water. How can these people all walk to the south and get to the South Pole? Now, what you could be saying is, Jaron, you don't know that. It could be just walking out into La La Land where nobody knows where. No. The every other observation on the Earth works. So what you're describing is a paradox. What you're describing isn't physically possible. What I'm describing is exactly what's physically possible and what's exactly physical truth. What you're saying is that how could everywhere on Earth conform exactly perfect to the sun, but then when you get to negative 79 and you start going south, the whole world changes into it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. How did I verify this? Well, like I said, when we were down in Punta Arenas, so if we go back to here, bring it back around to negative 81, there we go. And we bring this back to Punta Arenas now by moving the observer latitude a little bit less to here. We're going to move this one a little bit more this way. Okay, there we go. So when we were here, we saw this. Now look at what's going on. We saw the sun, and you guys can remember if you looked at the Punta Arenas live streams that we were here looking south, and we saw the sun do this. Watch the sun as it goes here, and it comes over and sets. Watch the sun here. It's going to set going underneath the Earth. And it was quickly under there for about 5 hours and came right back up in our southeast. Okay, so it matches perfectly with the globe model. Again, this is a globe celestial sphere above a flat Earth. And we'll get into the fact of why this isn't true shortly. But I just wanted to show you that. Whereas if we go to now the globe model, which is over here, and I think this is the best one. I really encourage people to play with it. No, not that. That's the wrong thing. Hold on. That's the sun. I don't even know what that is. Where's the PD model thing? Okay. So it's the Andrew Marsh model, and he still hasn't got back to me yet. I'm reaching out to him to try and get a lesson on it so that I can understand some of the buttons I don't get yet. Where is this thing? PD. Can you please find that for me? Thank you. PD Earth Sun. All right. Dr. Andrew Marsh sphere model. Let's bring this over here. But just to show you why it all makes sense, again, this is the same celestial sphere that you see here. We're going to move it to December 21st just because it's easier, December 14th where we were. Make it easy for you. We're going to move this guy to where we were. We were at longitude negative 79 and longitude 81. About there. Okay. So now let's go down here and look at where we were. So here we were in Union Glacier. Okay. Like I said, when the sun got to its lowest position, making sure you can see what I'm doing. Yes. When the sun gets to its lowest position, which is going to be, let's go to time instead. And the lowest position is going to be what? You should be able to figure that out. It should be around around midnight. So we're going to go down here, and there we go. So that's where the sun would be behind Mount Rossman. Here we are looking south, and this is why I've said that I could have walked south, and we can go to longitude and show that, or latitude, I mean. If we walk south, here I go towards the south, it basically unfolds itself, and I end up at the South Pole when the sun becomes even on all sides. Now remember, if this goes back to 79, that no matter where you are on this circle, the same thing is true. You see that? That no matter where the lowest part of the sun is, okay, it's always the same. It's because everybody would be facing that same direction. We'd all walk there. It's the same as the north. Imagine right now that everybody who had a compass went north. They're going to end up at the North Pole. Just like if everybody went south, although in the south I wouldn't even need the compass because I would be able to tell you where the sun was the lowest. The same would be true in the north, but it would be 6 months later. Okay? So the South Pole is no longer a question. The South Pole exists. It exists below the South Celestial Pole. It is a place that is a place where if everybody went south, they would all come to the same place. So just think about the flat Earth. Is that the same truth here? If everybody went south, do they all get to a pole where the stars rotate above them? No. So it's not even a question anymore. So we should all abandon the false model that people think is true. It's not true. Not true in the least bit. So the flat Earth cannot explain how everyone in Antarctica heading south converges to the same point. No matter where you're at in Antarctica, no matter where you're at in the world, head south, you're going to converge to that same place. The South Pole is directly below the South Celestial Pole. It matches explanations and expectations on a sphere. And if the Earth were flat, the convergence wouldn't happen. Instead, people would be spreading outwards, getting nowhere near each other. And that would be a paradox, because if the sun was the lowest at those places and people were walking that direction, the sky has to unfold. That's what it does. Nobody's ever been able to prove, and you'll never be able to prove that it doesn't do that. You could walk tonight, take Polaris, measure its altitude, and then walk 69 miles, and it's going to change by 1 degree. That's just a fact that you can't disprove. We got another question here. Somebody says, off topic, but wanted to ask you about the rings of Saturn. What do you mean? This has nothing to do with the rings of Saturn. If you look at the sides of a planet compared to the Earth, does it not seem the individual rocks not make more sense? What? You can't see the grains of sand if you're flying over the desert. If you look at the size of the planet compared to the Earth, does not seeing the individual rocks not make more sense? What? I don't know what you mean by that. You're talking about the pictures of Saturn on the Cassini site. We could talk about that after, but that is definitely not on subject. Drew Smith says, maybe you could talk more about what you thought about after each of these proofs when you were a flat earther. As you said, they're pretty basic. I'm sure many flat earthers feel the same way you did. Yeah, and that's what I've said, is that I thought that we were lied to about the South. So the number one was the South Celestial Pole. I thought that the South Celestial Pole was moving, that it moved across the sky. That, or I thought we could explain it by saying it's a declination thing where, you know, South Africa is looking a certain direction, Australia is looking a certain direction, and South America is looking a certain direction, and that because of declination, they're actually all looking at the same spot, which isn't true. It's actually impossible, right? If the declination was that far off, you would need to be, you know, like 90 declination for South or Australia and 90 declination for South America, and then have that be correct for South Africa. Maybe they could all see the same spot in the sky, but that's not at all the case, because then you have the people on the other side that need to get it. So it just doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. All right, so let's continue on. Back to this screen. We're going to go back to that in a second. But that is the number two, that the South Celestial Pole exists. And that was number one. Number two is that the South Pole exists. And with those two things, we don't really need to go much further, but we will, because we're going to give you 8 easy to follow steps. All right, so we got that one. Number two was the South Pole exists. Let's go to number three. Number three is the upside down and backwards moving sun and moon are impossible to explain on a flat Earth, right? So in the southern hemisphere, the sun and the moon appear to move the opposite direction and are flipped upside down compared to the northern hemisphere. We check this with sunspots, and with the moon, it's obvious. You're like, whoa, that moon's upside down. That's weird. So the flat Earth issue is that no flat Earth model predicts or explains the backwards moving and upside down sun or moon, okay? It just doesn't explain it, and it never will. That's just fact. This reversal only makes sense if you're on a sphere, okay? Now, again, here's where my problem becomes, is that if all observations are predicted and executed by the sphere, then to just make excuses like, well, we don't feel like we're spinning, or we don't feel like we're, I mean, and I get those. I made that, you know, I don't feel like I'm spinning. I don't feel like I'm spinning. But then again, we need to look at what the spinning actually is and what it means. Again, did you know that the Earth is spinning at 1 rotation per day? Okay. Is it moving 1,000 miles per hour? Yes, at the equator it is. However, the more important thing to think about is that it's moving. So imagine watching the moon, okay? Go out tonight, find the moon, watch the moon in the sky, and tell me if it's moving fast. Okay, is it moving fast? Do you think the sun is moving fast? So remember that the sun would, if you believe in flat Earth, goes around the Earth once a day. Okay, so is it moving fast in the sky? It was moving 1,000 miles per hour, right? When I was a flat earther, that's what I believed. The sun must move 1,000 miles per hour. It has to go 25,000 miles in a day. So it's moving 1,000 miles per hour. Is it moving fast in the sky? No. You know, go to Universe Sandbox or something. I think you even have the, I think we looked at it last night. The guy had Universe Sandbox. I don't have it, but I do have Solar System Viewer, or whatever it's called. And if you put it on live time, whatever you want to call it. Is this going to make that crazy sound again? Don't make any sounds. We don't want to hear the music. I'm just bringing this up. If I can play it in real time, I'm going to show you how fast the Earth is moving or spinning. Oh, good. It's not making noise. Thank you for that. All right, we're going to hit, yes, go. All right, so is this in real time? 6:06 p.m., 4:06? Yep. Okay, so I'm going to put this over here so you can see this. There we go. Okay, so this is right now, you'll notice, yeah, you can see down here at the very bottom, 16:06. Okay, 4:06. Let's get in here and let's watch the Earth and spin. Okay, so that's as fast as the Earth spins. So when we say that we're spinning fast, again, this is spinning 1,000 miles per hour. It has to go 25,000 miles in a day. So the questions of, I don't feel like I'm spinning. Okay, but would we really feel it if we're on here? It's just spinning once a day. Again, this is live. So let's see if we can make it go a little bit faster. I don't know if you can do that, or can you move it actual time? Can we change that? No. GMT now. Okay. Let me see if there's somewhere. Usually you can put it on like a fast forward motion. What's this? No, don't want that. I don't actually know how to do it. Size, speed, nothing. Anyway, usually you can turn these on. Oh, here, just play. Oh, here we go. So now we're going to change the time, but let's just go to, so this is, now look at this. This is 4 minutes per second. Okay. And look how fast it's moving. Granted, that's 4 minutes per second. So that's 4 times 60. That's 120, 240. So that's 240 minutes per minute. So it's a 200. This is 240 times faster. Look at it spin. Oops. This is 240 times faster than reality. Oops, I didn't mean to back that up like that. And then we can go back to actual time, and there's your actual time spinning. It's just sitting there. Again, to get it to move fast, we'd have to actually move it to, here's 41 minutes per second. Again, that would be a ridiculous factor. You can see the time down here, but if we put it at actual time, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Stop actual time, and let's go back to there. Oh, that's way too fast. I don't know how to get it back to where it was. Keep same day, same time. I don't know. Anyway, just showing you that the spinning idea is not quite the argument that I thought it was originally. Okay, let's go back to here and talk about that again. So, why is it that on a sphere, when you move past the equator, your perspective shift causes the sun and moon and constellations to all appear flipped? How would that work on a flat Earth? What would cause the sun to flip upside down because you went south? Right? It doesn't make sense. The sun goes around the Earth on a flat Earth 360 degrees in 24 hours, but it doesn't ever flip upside down, nor does it go backwards. So to be on a flat Earth that has a sun that's moving backwards requires the sun to change direction. We've never seen that. Okay? So that's one of the easier ones to figure out. You can talk to anybody. You can go look at videos and pictures and images and all you want, and everybody will say the same thing. Yes, the sun goes the other direction. Yes, the sun is upside down. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 out of the 8 is the Tropic of Capricorn direction. Okay, the observation is that the Tropic of Capricorn bends left, okay, counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. The flat Earth issue, on a flat Earth map, the curve should bend right clockwise, especially when you're looking west from South America. But observations prove otherwise. Okay, so sunset angles and known celestial mechanics confirm that the Tropic of Capricorn curves around a sphere, not a flat plane. This is not a question anymore. It's not a question anymore. So the only way to reconcile why that would ever happen is with a spherical model, in which case it's answered. So here's the weirdest thing for me, is that think of all the explanations for all these things that we've heard. Oh, it's dome refraction, it's dome mathematics, it's whatever we can possibly say. It's an apparent sun, it's this or that, the other thing. Or you can just say sphere. That's it. There's no other explanation needed. It explains the backwards moving sun, the upside down sun, the celestial sphere, the celestial South Pole. Sorry, the South Pole, the celestial South Pole. What other was the South Pole exists? So far, and the backwards moving sun and Earth, or sun and moon. So far, God, that sound in my ears bugs me. All right, so let's go over here. I'm going to show you on. So this is the Shane's model, as they call it, right? Or the Walter Vislin model. But again, as I move the time of day and we see the sun come around here, notice that the Tropic of Capricorn is this outside, get down so you can a little bit, this outside southernmost tropic. Okay, there it is. So if you're standing in South America, here, which way does that turn? You're looking this way, you say, oh, it's turning to the right, clockwise. Okay, but what happens when you actually go down there? You notice it turns counterclockwise, this way. So if it turns counterclockwise, what could it be doing? How is that possible? And I think I best described it. I'm going to bring this up just because I think it's a good job of showing people. I've had a couple people tell me they've appreciated this. Let me move this over here. And I got to go to this PC. Let's go Jeranism Picks. And Flat Earth Maps. Flat Earth Maps. Okay. Which one of these looks like fun? I like this one. Oh, yeah, maybe that one's better. Let's go to this one. Okay, so this is the, come here. There we go. All right, so this is the flat Earth map. and we know that there's the tropics. And this is, by the way, these things cannot be changed. Okay, and when I say that, I'm saying that they cannot be different. These are known physical facts. Like the southern tropic is about, I don't know. I'm just guesstimating here. I think it's about there. Okay, that's your southern tropic. Now we're going to do a northern tropic, which is going to be about. So the northern tropic never goes into the United States. It comes very close to like Florida, maybe like there. Okay, and then you have the equator, which we're going to do in white, and it's in the middle. These things cannot be changed because they are facts. They are. It's not. Nobody's tricking us. Just in a little bit. Okay. There. All right. So there's your tropics. Now, why are those physical facts? Because the sun, and we know this because anybody can go and verify it. It's not a question. Let me get a eclipse here. Let me get a circling sun kind of deal. That's good enough. All right. So here's the sun. So we know that the sun is always between these two lines or these three lines. That's what it does. We know that, right? And these cannot be questioned because if we have somebody who's standing here on the equinox and we say, hey, tell us when the sun's above your head, this person will see it, these people will see it, and so on. Just like on the southern, December 21st, these people would all be able to see it. Just like in the northern, these people would all be able to see it. In fact, I think Hawaii, they have Lahaina on the solstice. So basically, Hawaii is going to be out here somewhere because the sun goes right above Hawaii on the Tropic of Cancer at the northern solstice, the June 21st. So knowing this now, okay, I'm going to back this out a little bit to give us a little bit more room to work here because this is what we got to recognize. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Where's my scissors? Here. We're going to cut this out a little bit, give us a little bit more blue space. And there we go. All right, so remember, we're down here in, let's go with black's fine. Okay, so we're over here in South America. Actually, it'd be easier if we flip this around. Let's go, that's not what I'll do. I want to go image, rotate right, image, rotate right. Okay, so now we're down here. It makes a little more sense where I was. We were down here in South America. We went to Union Glacier, which is going to be down here. Okay, we went to Union Glacier. Now, what I want to show you is when we were here, standing in South America, looking this direction, okay, the sun sets over here. Okay, so the sun comes over, and then it goes here. And you're like, what? And then the sun goes right here. And it does that for months at a time. Now, here's the thing that you need to understand. If we know, like I said earlier, for a fact, that the sun is above the Tropic of Capricorn, then when the sun goes this way, guess what that means for the Tropic of Capricorn? The sun goes this way, what does it mean for the Tropic of Capricorn? It means that the Tropic of Capricorn is over here. So if this thing hits Australia pretty soon at midnight, then it means Australia is over here. And if it then hits South Africa, then South Africa is over here. And then it comes back to South America here. So how is that possible? Our map does this, but actually the real world tells us it does this. Any ideas? Any ideas? You should be able to figure it out. That if we're here and we're looking south and we see the sun and we call people in Australia and say, hey, where's the sun? And they say, it's above us. Then we understand what's going on. Oh, this is flipped underneath us over here. The Earth's a sphere. Fact. Can't be argued with that. Of course, flat earthers will try and lie to you and make up excuses, but there's just no excuse. How could the Tropic of Capricorn go off to the left unless the Tropic of Capricorn goes off to the left? It means this is not the Tropic of Capricorn, and it means that these cannot be the location of these continents. They're over here underneath the ball. So that's just the way it goes. All right, let's go to the next thing. We've got, that's the Tropic of Capricorn. Direction is wrong, hence falsifying flat earth. Number 5, the southern stars. This is very simple, that we don't have a mechanism for the southern stars. The mechanism used here in the Shane's model, if I press stars, okay, press it twice, there we go, we see these stars. And as we move the day, you'll notice that they rotate around like this. Okay, but again, we went and we saw it. What Eric Dubé was showing, he got in here, he was looking at the wall over there and watched the stars. Oops, not in, I don't want to see the sphere thing. Move this way. All right, so watch the stars over here, and you'll just notice as they go along that they're just racing across the sky. Okay, but that's not what happens in reality. They circle around a point. Now you might say, oh, well, that's what they show us here. Correct. Correct. So I'm going to show you why that doesn't work as well. But think about it. If the entire disk of the sky rotates around Polaris, then we would never see what we see, which is a backward set of moving stars over a south celestial point. Okay? The stars in the south appear to rotate a central point, the south celestial pole. If the Earth were flat, stars could not rotate around a single point in the south. That doesn't make sense. Instead, they should be stretched outwards towards the edge. Okay? The southern star trails are consistent for all locations in the southern hemisphere, and the spherical explanation is a spinning sphere naturally produces 2 points of rotation in the sky, one in the north and one in the south. Let's go to the next one, which is also based on this one. Number 6. Oh, you didn't get to see the changeover. It's not fun. Let's go back. I want to show my little slide thing here. There we go. Number 6. Circumpolar stars in the south. This one is huge. I think this is maybe one of the ones that made me go, what the F? And kind of realize my folly. We're going to put this guy back out here. Okay? I want you to see these stars here. Remember we talked about it earlier? Look at these red stars. These are called circumpolar stars. Why? Because they don't rise and set. If the person is in this bubble looking at them, it's just going to be like this. They just rotate around the spot. Okay, now where are these red stars in reality? In the flat Earth model, where are these red stars in reality? You know where they're at? They are all these stars out here. So in order for these stars to go around a central point, they need to be over here on the other side of the world. Like here and here. But they're displayed for us over here circling the pole. There's no mechanism for that. There's no explanation for that. There's no understanding. There's no coherent belief about that. You just have to shake your head and plug your ears and close your eyes and be like, I'm not going to even hear that. Circumpolar stars, and this is something, that guy who asked for me to give my opinion of why that's the case or why I missed that, I never even heard anybody mention it. I've never heard anybody mention it until a week before I went on the trip. When somebody said, what about circumpolar stars in the south? I'm like, what about them? They're like, the stars that just go around the South Pole. I'm like, yeah, there's just stars. It's just the way we look in the sky. It's just the way they appear. They're like, no, but aren't those the southern stars? I'm like, yeah, if they're in the southern sky, yeah, of course. He's like, well, don't they go all the way around the Earth? I'm like, yes. And he's like, well, how would they be displayed for us just going around a single spot if they're actually going? And why do we tell people? Because think of this. When you're standing here, we tell people you can't see the North Star because it's too far. So this person can't see the North Star because it's too far, but they can see these stars over here. I mean, that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. If you're somebody who's promoting that model, that idea, that understanding, you're out in left field. We cannot tell people, oh, the North Star's too far, but you can see these ones over here, and they just display for you circling a spot here in the southern sky. Not possible, right? So certain stars that are near the south celestial pole appear to circumpolar, meaning that they never set and just circle around the pole. The flat Earth issue is, of course, in a flat plane model, these stars would need to move in a huge outer circle, which doesn't match reality, right? These stars don't create little stars in your sky. It doesn't work that way. The existence of circumpolar stars in the south proves that the stars are not rotating around a giant disk. Okay? On a sphere, observers near the pole will naturally see stars circling their celestial pole, and everybody sees the same ones. Okay? They're not coming from across the Earth. They're coming from right around the south celestial pole. All right, let's go to number 7. Oh, you didn't get to see the changeover again. I'm such a jerk. And let's go back. 6 and 7. Number 7 is that sunset and sunrise times and angles match perfectly on the sphere, and the flat Earth cannot explain one of them. You've obviously, if you've been listening to me the last 4 weeks, I keep bringing up the same topic because it is embarrassing for us to know that if you take this model and you take anywhere, I'm going to put here under sunbeam, okay? This is the sun. No matter what date you do, no matter what year you do, if you then turn on the twilight, okay? So you'll notice here these lines that, and if you look at this, this is the reason we have sunrise, sunset. So we can just go to a random date. I'm going to grab a random date here. Let's go random date of, I'm just going to close my eyes and move that along. There we go. April 29th, 2025. Okay, we're there, April 29th. And let's see what time the sun rises for, I don't know, a place. What do you think? Somebody in the chat, first one to type a place. In the United States, or it could be anywhere, but just give me a place. Somewhere I'll be able to find easily without having to go look it up. Somewhere easily, just name a place. Somebody in the chat, name a place. And we will wait for that and see, just so we can show that the globe model matches perfectly with the sunrise sunset angles. Let's see what they come up with. Somebody's going to send me somewhere. Pittsburgh. Thank you very much. Okay. So we're going to go now to the Pittsburgh. And let's get over here. And let's move the daytime so we can get to where Pittsburgh is. Keep moving. Okay. All right. So we're going to go here. So what we want to see now is what time does the sun set on that April day in Pittsburgh? I'm saying sunrise, sorry. What time does the sun rise? Okay, let's go here. Okay, so we've got April, whatever we were on. I forgot what we were on. Okay, and the only thing is I'm not sure if this is set to what time. Is it my time or oh, so basically it shows you over here. So the solar information is the rise and set hours and the azimuth and the daylight hours. What? Oh, I know what I'm doing. I got to change my where's my longitude, latitude. There we go. Let me get this up here. I'll just figure this out real quick rather than search for it. We'll just go Pittsburgh long lat. Okay. So we got 40.4 and 79. So we're going 40.4. 40. Let's go 40 is fine. There, 40.6, good enough. And 79.99. So we're going to go to 80 north here. Oops, went too far. 80. Wait, am I doing this backwards? Is it? No. 40 north. Aren't we 40 north? I think we're on 40 north. Where's my latitude? Longitude. 40. Oh, I see. It's just changing the time zone right below that. I see it now. 79. Hello. Okay, so it's negative 79. I don't know why they wouldn't tell me that. All right, negative 79 there. All right. 79.9. Good. So that's Pittsburgh right here. We're there. And if we are looking at April, and let's see, what did the what was the time zone that they gave us? So yeah, they gave us Eastern time zone, so this is great. We're going to actually see what time it rises based on the model. So you'll notice here as the sun comes around on that April, what day are we on again? Do you remember? I do. April the something. April the 29th. Okay, so here we go. We're going to continue this down. Okay, now look at where this spot is. And when we see the sunrise, okay, and you'll notice here that the sun is behind the earth. See the red dot there? Okay, and then you see the sun pop out and it rises. There it goes. So right there's your horizon. There's where the sun rises. So we can look at that and say that the time is 6:05. So then if you go to SunCalc and we type that in, how would it be? And this is for everywhere on the earth. So imagine if we cannot disprove SunCalc, which you can't. Okay, SunCalc matches everywhere. So if we go up here to Pittsburgh, and there we go. We're going Pittsburgh. We are going to April the 29th. And if you, and I think I may have thought that this used to be able to be something that could be lied about. Now I realize there's no way. There's no way. So if we want to see what time the sun rises, we go over here and look at what happens. Dink, sun comes up. What time is it? We look over here and it's 6:25, but we can just back that up to be right exactly right where it would be. There we go. And 6:05. And that's where it will rise. So you'll see that we've got matching things. Oops, here. And the reason why is because the sphere model matches sunrise, sunset times, and angles. Okay? So if you notice how this works, and I've tried to show people this, you want to use this. You want to go to the site, because as you start to see how everything jives, and I'll show you one other thing here, because this is crazy to me. If we take our latitude and we move it this way or this way, right? Look at the daylight hours. Okay, you can see up here. Hopefully you guys are seeing the screen. Yeah. So look at the daylight hours. It shows daylight hours. Okay. So you'll see here it says 24 hours because we're up here in this northern summer. It's getting 24 hours of light. As we move this latitude, watch those numbers. Okay, so now it's at 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, and it goes all the way to 0. Okay, if we do it 6 months later, it's just going to be the opposite, right? So now take the calendar, go to, I don't know, we can just go to whatever, October, November, December, and then you'll notice that the same thing is true now if we go here, oops, and go to latitude. Now watch it right there, it's at 24 hours in the south. As we move back up, look at the hours, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, all the way to get to 0. The other thing, if we go to the equinox, so we're putting ourselves on the equator, we are going to go to March 31st. or 17th. Oops, that's not the date. But we can actually just click it up here. You can go to important dates. We're going to go to the autumn equinox. Okay. Now look at the daylight hours. 12:07. Let's move our latitude again and watch the daylight hours. Do you see that? So how could it be that we don't live on a sphere, yet the sphere perfectly matches observations? It's literally impossible. Okay? It's literally impossible for you to take a flat map of a location of places, to put it onto a sphere. You can do that much. Cartographers could do that. Projectionists could do that very easily. Oh, you live on this flat plane? We're going to make you think you live on a sphere. Great. Where does it run out? It runs out as soon as you need to jive with observations. If there's a sun that goes around a flat plane and people live underneath it, if you map it onto a sphere, it no longer matches the observations of the sun going around the flat plane. So what does that mean? Of course, Chevy Rutero says, I sold my soul to the devil because I give you facts. Because I tell you how the world works. It's embarrassing for you guys. It really is embarrassing. It's not embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing to have been a part of it. But it's embarrassing for you guys to have to jump to, oh, this doesn't match my belief system, therefore you're a shill, you sold your soul to the devil. You're in big trouble for the rest of your life, my friend. Very big trouble. Because I'm trying to explain to you that you cannot answer any of these 8 facts. There is no answer to them. That's why I brought them up. And we're only on number 7. Let's go to the next one. So sunrise, sunset times, guys, match the sphere Earth, which is impossible unless the Earth's not a sphere. Unless the Earth is a sphere. Okay, if the Earth's not a sphere, then you can't match observations. That would be impossible. Next is the number 8. The second apparent sun that's needed on the flat Earth. So flat Earth proponents often place a second apparent sun in their models without reason or rhyme. They just match what we see in reality. So if we go to Shane's model here, okay, and again, let's take the sun and see where the sun is over. Let's go to a day of the year, 355. Okay, 355 is it? Right there. Okay, so look at this here. The sun, as we move the daytime, is here. See it? That's the sun. Now watch. As I move the sun, it really, what they do, because they need it to be here. Let's move it to where it's above Australia. Okay, so right here it's above Australia, right? It needs to be there because Australia, the place, has people who live there who would be able to say the sun's above our head. Great. But people in Antarctica over here would see the sun in their sky. Let me actually move the latitude a little bit down. Okay, let's see where it's there. Okay, and if we move this along, we would see that there's the moon. Why did I lose the sun? We're not far enough yet. Let's go there. Okay, so and latitude, longitude. Oh, it's because I don't have daytime on. Sorry, I'm on the stars. I can turn the stars off. Okay, now we got it. So now we're going to day of the year 365. 355 is fine. 355. Yeah. And then we're going latitude to outside here just so you can see that the people out there. Let's go over here. All right. So if the sun is in the sky over here, see it? These people see it in their sky. But really, the sun is over here. It needs to be because it needs to be above Australia. So what Flat Earth does is they take the sun, they leave it there because it needs to be there. Then they say, oh, there's an apparent sun that appears way the fuck over here, and we predicted it. Guess where this spot is? This spot is the identical spot that the sphere Earth model says it will be, and the same spot that reality says it will be. So Flat Earth just says, okay, well, if that's where it's supposed to be, then we'll just steal it, put it in the sky for these people, call it a day. What the fuck are you talking about? How can you do that? If Flat Earth predictions were accurate, then the second sun wouldn't need to be added manually. Do you understand that? Again, let me say it again. If the Flat Earth predictions were accurate, we would not need to have a second sun. Did you know that the globe doesn't need a second sun? The globe doesn't use a second sun. But we do. We have to call it an apparent sun and say that it's apparently, I don't know where, because it needs to be misplaced sometimes 20,000 miles away. Right? This is probably 20,000 miles to where it is. And we just steal it and say, well, we can't steal it because it needs to be there. So we duplicate it, put it into our dome of vision, and say, ta-da, we predicted it. Guys, it's time to call it quits. It's time to get out. Get out now before it's too late. And if you are one of Daddy Oakley's children. Okay, let me bring this up because Oakley's always got his answers and they're wrong, just to let you know. So Oakley says that it is a confirming the consequent logical fallacy if you say, if we see the sun down there doing circles, then the Earth's a sphere. So I want to make sure that people know that we're not doing that. Let's look at what Oakley says and see if he realizes the error of this method. Okay? So have you ever heard Oakley say the following? If the Earth is a sphere with radius 3959 miles, then the horizon can be no more than 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. But we go out and we measure, and we see a horizon past that distance, falsifying the globe. This has been a flat Earth black swan comment talking point for years. Okay? So if they're allowed to word this way, then we'll just word it the same. Just change the wording a little bit. Notice that I'm just going to be repeating the same lines here. If the Earth is a flat plane with a sun that orbits around the tropics in a clockwise fashion, then at no time can the sun go around an observer 360 degrees on the outskirts of that map or below and beyond the southernmost tropic. But guess what? We go and we observe and see that the sun does orbit the head of those observers, falsifying the flat Earth. Same thing. Okay? We go and measure and see a horizon past this distance, falsifying the globe. You could just word the same thing. It's not a confirming the logic. We're actually saying, we're not confirming, we are falsifying. I don't believe in proof, but I do believe you can falsify. Let's go to the next one so you can kind of see the point. God, that sounds annoying. Okay. So again, if the Earth is a flat plane with a North Pole center and all stars circle the flat plane around Polaris, then there can be no south celestial pole where the stars are circumpolar, since they must circle around Polaris to the far side of Earth. Again, this is not this is a flat Earth point. The flat Earth believes that the stars all rotate around Polaris. That's what I said here. If the Earth is a flat plane with a North Pole center and all stars circle that flat plane around Polaris, then there can be no south celestial pole where the stars are circumpolar, because they need to actually circle around Polaris to the far side of Earth. However, we go and observe and see that the stars do circle the south celestial pole and that they are circumpolar, falsifying the flat Earth. So hopefully you see that it's just in the wording. Sure, you don't want to do a confirming the concept. You don't want to say, if the stars are circumpolar, then the Earth is a sphere. The stars are circumpolar, therefore the Earth is a sphere. That is a logical fallacy. And just so people know, just because you use a fallacy doesn't mean you're wrong. You can use a fallacy and it still be right. It's just not very good for logic and not very good for debate. But regardless of that, it looks like we have another question coming in. Maybe. We've got somebody, I think they're anonymous. They didn't put their name in there. It says, do you think this experience will further color the way you approach other things? Absolutely. There are still legitimate criticism in regards to other viewpoints you have. Yeah, I get that. People can criticize me as much as they want. I don't really care. Like space in general, especially given you said you have a history of rejecting it based on who said it and not the subject matter itself. Very true. Yep. I've said already. What that is? Something's a loose cable or something. Yeah, I've already said I have to relook at things again with a new understanding. Absolutely. What's the name of the website you were using for sunset discussion? Which one? SunCalc or the... I'll give you both of them in the chat. This is the Andrew Marsh model here. Oops, didn't need to click that. So that's the Andrew Marsh model. And then this is the Shane's model. Oh, don't want to do that. It's going to give you coordinates. See if we can get that. Let's see if we just go back to get Shane's model here. Well, I don't want all those things in there though. Oh boy, come on, go back. Let me just get it over here, just easier. I don't think you want all those locations in there. All right, so let's grab this, and Shane's model is down here. Oh, come on, I just had it. Where's Shane's model? Shane's model. Okay, there we go. And then I already did the PD Earth right. Got that one for you. Oh, that's why I have the search still on. Of course, it's not going to come up. All right, so Shane's model here. It does put coordinates in there for you. Weird. All right, so I'm giving you this. What do I keep clicking at? Go there. Okay, so that's, yeah, I took it. So that's your model. You have the PD Earth, which is the, this is pretty great. I mean, this one's going to tell you a lot. You can turn on the tropics. There you go. And if you look, this is called the sun solar point. See this red line here? Oh, subsolar. Sorry, not sun solar. And if you notice, the analemma is the subsolar position of the sun. So if we just move the date, move the time, the date, stupid. If you move the date like this, watch the sun just go right in between the tropics. See that? Notice that the sun goes there, 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 there. Okay, so that's just by moving the date. So we can kind of see how that works. If we move the date from down here, we can actually see it go. Okay? And so this model matches reality. Now, granted, you might say, but Jaron, I don't feel like I'm on a sphere. Neither do I. But Jaron, I don't feel like I'm spinning in endless space. Neither do I. Okay, neither do I. But just because I feel like, I feel like the Earth is flat, and I don't feel like I'm on a sphere, doesn't give me permission to then deny reality and deny what God has given us to know. So these things that I've told you, we've already gone through the 8 of them, are things that God gave us to know where we're at. He's not a deceiver. He didn't say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like they're on a sphere, but they're not on a sphere. They're going to never know it's flat. No. He would have given us a way to know how to travel, how to navigate, how to do all those things, which is what we got. And I think it's incredible. And I think that we can't understand spheres of size, right? So we see this sphere and this looks like a basketball to us. And so we see that and we're like, there's tons of curvature here. We would notice that. Okay. But that's not the case if you actually know the dimensions that we're talking about. I mean, if you were to be able to zoom in on a sphere and get down to that nitty gritty, and I'll just show this one more time because I think Where's Wally did a great job of making a little graphic that just kind of shows people, come on. Let me in. Thank you. Oh, Where's Wally? Thank you. What'd you say? You were talking to me. Yeah, I know. Okay, let me see. Somebody who did what? Oh boy. Somebody called the cops on MC Toon for flying a drone in Antarctica. That's funny. Let me grab this. Where's our images? And this one here. Where is it here? Okay, so look at this image here. And when you understand this, I think it can help you understand a lot. So this is a 6 foot diameter circle or sphere. If we laid on top of that, we'd have problems. If we have a 4 meter, 12 foot diameter sphere, we're going to have problems. 8 meter, problems. 15.8 meters, problems. But now get down here and look at 125 meters, which is only 500 feet. Diameter of the entire sphere, we can actually start to lay on it. And at 1 kilometer, which is half a mile or 0.6 miles, it's easy to lay on. And this is at 8 kilometers, so you can't see the bottom. Let me move this up a little bit. Okay, so at 8 kilometers, which is only 5 miles. So think of a sphere that's 5 miles wide, that diameter. We could just lay on it, and all of a sudden it becomes flat. Okay, so now picture 8,000 miles. The Earth is flat. I mean, that's the thing. The Earth is flat and level, and it is, and water finds its level and all those things. So the great thing about what I believe is that the Creator, I know people who believe in the globe, some of them don't believe in a Creator. I do think that we are created, and I'm open to hearing arguments against that, but I don't really think there is one. I don't believe in the same kind of God that the Christians do or that the Muslims do, but I do believe that we're here for a reason, and that this is a created place, and that it's pretty impressive if it's been created in a way that allows us to build bridges and fly planes, right? So the reason we can fly planes is because the plane flies above the plane of the Earth. And it does that at all times. So it's never nosing down. If it nosed down, it would be losing altitude. So it's not losing altitude, it's keeping the same altitude. So it's staying the same distance above the plane that it's flying above. Okay? And as that plane slowly, and again, I've showed this yesterday because people can't grasp the Home Depot explanation, and I think I did it well with a football field explanation, and I'll do that real quick, and we'll be calling it pretty done with the presentation. Because if you think of the 8 inches per mile, here's one of the things that I had a hard time understanding at first. So take a 8 inches per mile squared, right? So if we did the first mile, so we measure a mile and we calculate that it's 8 inches of curve. So what do you think the curve would be in the second mile? Meaning we walk to the end of the first mile and we say, okay, let's Let's measure the next mile. Well, guess what? It's also 8 inches. Okay, and if we go to the next one, it's also 8 inches. So all of a sudden you got this issue where you're like, wait a second. So the Earth is only curving 8 inches per every mile, but you can reduce that. Okay, I'll show you what we're going to do. So we're going to reduce that to this over here. Okay, so just to show you my methodology here. So we know it's 8 inches per mile. You can see that, yes. There. So if it's 8 inches per mile in mile 1, okay, what is it in mile 2? I'm sure flat earthers know it's 32. Okay, and what is it in mile 3? 72. Right? Okay, and what is it in mile 4? 128. Okay, so if we ever work backwards, oops, sorry, you can't see that really well. Maybe this way. Okay, there. So if we're going to ever work backwards, then we want to figure out, how do we know what half distance is, right? So if you're at 4 miles and you're like, well, I know it's 128 for 4. What is it for 2? Is it half of 128? No, it's half of the half, right? Half of 128 is 64. Half of that is the 32. Okay, so you can now know that no matter what distance you're given for the curvature rate of one particular mile, if it's 4 miles, if it's 8 miles or 10 miles, right? If you take half that amount and then half it, then you'll get the curvature. Meaning, so if we wanted to test this, let's do 2 miles, right? We want to figure out, what is it at 1? Is it half of 32? No. Half of 32 is 16, but half of that is the 8. Okay, so that will allow us to do some calculations here. We're going to do, we want to go smaller than the 8 inches per mile squared. Okay, so it's 8 inches per mile squared. Give me back this. I want a little bigger marker. Okay, so if we're going 8 inches per mile squared, 8 inches per mile. Okay, but we want to figure out what it is to do a half mile. Right, so how much curvature is there in a half mile? Is there 4 inches of curvature? No. What is there? 2. Right, we're taking half of the half. So it's 2 inches for every 0.5 miles. Let's go half again. So in a quarter mile, okay, or 1/4 mile, is it 2 inches? No. Is it half? 1? Nope. It's half of the half, 0.5 inches of curvature in 0.25 1/4 mile. Let's do one more. Let's go 1/8 mile. Again, is it half of the half? Nope. Half of that would be 0.25 and half of that would be 0.125. Okay, so we're going with 0.125 inches per 1/8 mile. Okay, 1/8 of a mile, and I should know, I think it's 6 something, but I don't know what exactly. We're doing 5280 feet divided by 8 equals, so 660. Okay, so that means that this is the equivalent of 0.125 inches per 660 feet. So I want you to think about that. That is the equivalent of 2 football fields with their end zones. Okay, so people who recognize what a football field is, if you ever played it, if you've ever seen it on a field, you know how big that a football field is. You know, 100 yards. So we're just going to show you that so you can kind of get an idea. Oops, go one more. Okay, so we're just taking this, I'm going to do a parallelogram, polygon's fine. Okay, so we're going to do like this, just so we can kind of picture, this is going to be 2 football fields. Get out of here. Okay, and we're going to color green on the inside, green, and dark green, something like that. Okay, there's our football fields. We're going to kind of give them an angle, so, oops, don't do that. Don't want to do that. All right, so we're just going to go here. Okay, so picture these are 2 football fields lined up side by side. We're going to get a little marker here, cut them in half. So this is pretty far, and it includes the end zones. So you have an end zone here. You got an end zone here. Okay, let's see, we have an end zone here, and an end zone here. You would have your 50-yard line here. Don't do that to me. There's your 50-yard line. Sorry, it's not perfect. There's your 50-yard line. Okay, so there's your footballs. And then you've got, of course, your goalposts, which would be here and here. And also here and here. Okay, there's your football field, 2 football fields. So think of 2 football fields long, and guess how much curvature there is. Everyone do this with me. Put your fingers out like an inch. Hold an inch in your hands. And now reduce it to 1/10. This much. This little much curvature, that's 1/10 inch. in 2 football fields. So if you think that we would notice that or be able to build against that or be able to even use our tools of measuring to ascertain that amount of curve, you can't. The Earth is so big that the curve is non-existent. Okay. Now, again, if you're looking at 1,000 football fields and you said, well, I'm measuring them from here. Well, yes, then the football fields are going to curve like that away from you. But in your location where you're at, anywhere you are, think of 2 football fields right and left of you and realize that there's 1/10 inch of curvature. That's nothing. You'll never notice that. That's why my whole Home Depot story is to give you that idea that if we had Home Depots here this long, everywhere on the Home Depot would measure flat. Put a level down anywhere, flat, 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 flat. So you would never notice that you were actually on a sphere. That's the case of where we are. We don't notice that we're on a sphere because God created it that way. Pretty impressive that the Earth is, if you zoom out, a sphere. But if you're living on it, you don't notice that. The Earth is flat and level, and water finds its level. That's how we're able to build. That's how we build bridges. And again, I still disagree with Globers who have tried to tell me that, no, we do take the curvature of the Earth into account when we build bridges. It's just nonsense. If you were going to build a bridge, let's say between these 2 football fields, you would just build your braces, and you build this part, and then you build this part. You would just build the bridge. You would not need to know, oh, it's going to be 4 centimeters. No, you just build the bridge. So I don't believe that yet. Anyway, that's a way to explain it to you. So this model, again, this is confusing for us because we see it as a basketball and we don't think like, oh, but if you're living here, it's 2 foot and you had 2 football fields next to you, you know, 1/10 of an inch. Okay. That seems pretty crazy. All right, let me make sure there's no more questions on here. Go back here, presenter view. Do we have any more questions? What's the name of the website you were using for Sunset? Can I give you that one? If the world leaders never kept everyone in the northern hemisphere and nobody was allowed south, do you think people could still prove the globe? If world leaders never kept everyone in this northern hemisphere, what? And nobody was allowed to go south? No, I don't think so. I think that if people weren't allowed to go south, you would have a hard time ever knowing that there was a south. So I would say no. I could be wrong about that, but I'm trying to think. They could have assumed either one, right? So you would get to the equator. If you couldn't go past the equator, you'd have to, well, are you saying it's a world like it is? Because no, if you would be just above the equator, you would see the southern stars turning the other way. Or they would be going at least, look like they're breaking away from you. So I do think you could surmise from that. But I think it would be much more difficult. The fact that we have a southern hemisphere helps because you can go there and you can actually see for yourself that it is the case. So I'm going to close this down. We are closing questions. That is it, I believe, for my presentation. So again, that was the 8. We'll just go through them one more time just so you feel comfortable with them. Let's go back to the beginning. Previous. What? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, here we go. So one more time. We have the 8 easy facts to falsify flat Earth. You can do this yourself. You don't need NASA. You don't need anybody in authority. You can actually do it yourself. Number 1, the South Celestial Pole exists. You can go down there and look at it for yourself, or you can call somebody, or you can believe me, or you can believe the people that have done it, or not. But if you want to get to the truth, this is the best way. Number 2, the South Pole exists. If there's a celestial pole, what do you think's below it? Why would the whole world all of a sudden not be what it's presented as? If we have a North Pole, and we know that we go stand there, we look up, there's Polaris, we look down, we're on the North Pole. Same thing is true, South Celestial Pole. Look down, you're on the South Pole. We've got upside down and backwards moving sun and moon. Very easy to ascertain. You can go take a trip to South Africa, and you'll see all these things yourself. Number 4, one of the big ones, the tropical Capricorn direction, clearly goes to the left. It clearly means that the Earth goes to the left. It does not curve to the right, like the flat Earth says. Southern stars have always been a problem for flat Earth. They've never been explained, and they are explained perfectly on a sphere. Number 6, the circumpolar stars in the south are a huge problem for flat Earth because they don't make any sense. They would never exist if it was a flat Earth. And we've got sunset and sunrise times, tilts and angles, or times and angles. So I didn't get to this point. I didn't tell you. So the score is, if you want to do a scoreboard, the globe Earth predicts every sunrise for every location on Earth pretty much perfectly. Maybe it's off a couple minutes, but again, with refraction, I can see it being off a couple minutes. Who cares? It's a couple minutes. The flat Earth has never predicted one sunrise or sunset time or angle for any location, on any day, in any year, in any decade, in any century. None. Wonder what that's all about. I got some short in my mixer. Anyway, so that's a huge problem. If you're a flat earther, just accept that. Nobody ever said that to me. I wish somebody would have said that to me. Jaron, do you know that the sunrise and sunset times and angles for the globe Earth matches every single location? You can go to any location and check this. So if you're in Pittsburgh, go to New York. If you're in New York, go to Florida. If you're in California, go to New Mexico. And when you get there, check if the sunset and sunrise times match the sphere Earth model. And when they do, then go look at the flat Earth model and see if the angles of the sunrise and sunset match. And they don't. There's not even a prediction. There's not even a prediction. Because unless you're talking about going to Shane's model and saying, oh, I believe in this magical pretend sun that we just put there, well, of course that's going to match. That's where they got it from. They stole it from the globe, put it in your celestial dome, and said, there you go, you see it. Right? But those aren't the angles that we're talking about. I'm talking about the real sun in the real sky. Those angles do not match the flat Earth at all. Just think of the equinox. I mean, that's a problem. Okay? Somebody asked me yesterday about when I used to show the globe and say that east and west are different than north and south, and do I still believe that, and do I still have issues with that? Let me explain something about that. So, I'm just trying to think if it's an easy way to explain it or a hard way. So, in researching that, I came to a certain understanding of it. I'll just show everybody. I'm going to bring up Google Earth real quick. It's probably the easiest way to show it. And then I'll show you why it's incorrect thinking. Let's close this. And okay. Come on, Google Earth today. Today, Junior. Okay, let's see. Here it comes. So, what I was showing people before is that if you take a north-south line, okay, any north-south line, if somebody is 180 degrees from you, as you'll notice here, move this over here, so you can watch that. Okay, so watch as I go 180 degrees south. Okay, it's right there, 180. Now you'll notice that the person who is south of you, you are exactly north of them. Good. Anywhere you go. If somebody is 180 degrees south of you, you are 360 degrees from them. Okay, the problem is that if we do the same thing with, let me actually turn off tools, options, I want to turn off the atmosphere. Atmosphere. Apply. Okay, and I want to turn off the clouds. All right, now we're good. So if we do east and west, so let's do, clear that. We're going to do from here somewhere in LA or something, and we go to 90 degrees east. Okay, 90 degrees east. Okay, that's 89, 90. Okay, so then you would think that this person is 270 west of them, but that's not the case. If we save this and we do it again, I always forget where the other page comes up over here. Get out of it. Okay, so now if we do it again, you're not going to give me that back. Okay, so we're going to do it from here, and look, it's not 270. They're actually 291. 270 is down here. So I was always pointing out east and west are not the same as north and south. North and south are cardinal directions. East and west are not. I want to show you why that is not correct, or why it's a weird thing to think about. So think about the Earth having a north and south pole. We made lines. These lines are not real, by the way. These lines are man-made. But if we drew a line from the North Pole, stop that, from the North Pole to the South Pole, every one of these lines is a great circle. Okay, so meaning that every time, no matter where you're at on this line, you are directly north and south of each other. But that's man-made. Okay, when we made east-west, we didn't make a pole, but we could have. So think about it. If we made an east-west pole, okay, where would the east-west pole be? They'd be on the equator. And guess what? The same would be true. If every line of latitude stretched from the east pole to the west pole, then every line of latitude, then all these lines would be the same thing the other direction. Hopefully that makes sense. So by drawing the globe the way we did, okay, is if lines of latitude, so the great circles are ones that are these ones, right? Because they actually are all parallel to each other. Whereas, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The great circle routes are all great circles because they're all 25,000 miles around, okay? The east-west lines are not. So for instance, this line here is parallel with these ones. The lines of latitude are all parallel. And so they don't do the same thing as north-south. So it is correct that what I was saying. I used to say north-south are different than east-west. Yes, they are, because of the way that we've created the world. Meaning the North Pole and South Pole are the ones that connect by great lines, great circle lines, but not east-west. If we did do that, then it would be this different. It would be the opposite, right? So for instance, if this was the east pole and this was the west pole, then all the lines would bend like this, okay? And when we measured things, then you would always be east-west of each other would be absolute, but north-south would be opposite. Why? Because the north-south changes. So for example, when I was showing these lines here, notice that for this person, if they're standing here on this line, okay, that is their exactly east for this person. See that? We get a 90-degree angle here. But the same thing is true if we came over here to this person, drew their north-south, that is east-west for them. So you understand? The reason why that happens is because no matter where you're at on Earth, the North Pole is going to adjust versus your positioning, which is then going to cause the east-west to be different. So yes, if somebody is ever north of you, you are south of them by design. And if somebody's east of you, it doesn't mean that they're west of you. Why? Well, now look at this. So these lines that we're drawing east and west, you'll notice something about them. They are great circles. Remember I told you that if we did an east-west pole, that they would be great circles? They are. They are, if you're doing these lines. See? They are great circles. Now there's no place to kind of put this down over here. It kind of is. But you'll notice like that is an east-west latitude line. So it is the same as the north, right? But it's just, again, you'd have to turn the globe this way. And then you start to see, oh, okay, I get it now. Now it would be an east-west pole, even though it's north-south on here. So hopefully that makes sense. That the way that we've done longitude-latitude is not what I think we were taught or what most people think intuitively. Most people think east-west, north-south are the same, but they're not. One is a cardinal direction. North-south is cardinal direction, in my opinion, because it doesn't change, meaning that anybody on the north line of you is south of you and anybody south of you is north of you, etc. But east and west are different. Okay, east and west are not the same because even if you're on a line of latitude, so for instance, you can't even draw a line on Google Earth to stay on this line of latitude. See that? You can't even force it to do that line because it's not the quickest direction. It's not the quickest way. It's not a great circle. So all lines that are drawn on the globe are great circles. Okay, when you draw a line from here to here, that's a great circle. Draw a line from here to here, that's a great circle because it's the shortest direction, shortest path of two places. It just so happens north and south remain fixed. East and west are going to change because we don't have an east and west pole. East and west lines of latitude are not concentric. Yeah, concentric circles or parallel circles. So anyway, somebody asked that and I wanted to clear that up. Let me go check out if we've got any super chats and then we're going to do a little Dirtball of the week. And may call it quits. We've got a crypto class tonight. If anybody's part of the VIP, please become a VIP. Go to wap.com/Jeranism. We do every first Friday of the month a crypto class, and then we do the first and third Saturday of the month. Oh, by the way, you do want to become a VIP. You know why? Guess who's going to be the VIP for? Is this one on here? Yeah. So this is some links you can follow. But if you want to keep track of me, the best place is t.me/Jeranism. You can message me there. T.me/Durance is the place that I rant about my thoughts and opinions. You can check that out. T.me/Jeranism links is where I'll put all the links from the shows. T.me/Jeranism show is the notification channel, and I only post when I'm going live. So if you were on that channel, you would have gotten a notification about 2 hours ago that I was going live. And then T.me/Jeranism chat is an anything goes kind of hodgepodge of nonsense mostly. But you can become a VIP. When you become a VIP, you get the private groups where there's just people that are the VIPs in there. It's a little easier to chat there. You get the crypto group. You get a singles group. You get a workout group, fitness group. All that stuff is in that VIP. But you also get the first and third Saturday of the month. We do a hangout, and we've had them with David Weiss and Rose 777 and Conspiracy Music Guru and Nathan Thompson and Austin Thompson and we've got all kinds of people. Hibbler, Karen B. I could go to Sov. We can go through a list of a bunch of people that have come by. I basically bring somebody with me, and everybody can ask them as many questions as they want. And next Saturday, so a week from tomorrow, it will be Will Duffy. So if you want to give him a piece of your mind, that Satanist, that guy who doesn't believe that lying is immoral. Of course, that's not true. That's just people who listen to other people and don't ever actually follow up and go listen to the sermon, at which point you'd go, oh, it's just somebody lying about him. Yeah. But again, flat earthers, that would take work. You'd actually have to go and follow up on something, not just believe it, which is what most people do. Just like they all believe that the trip was fake. It's, well, why? What did you see? Oh, I heard it was fake. Oh, okay. That's good. Good method of research there, is to just hear something's fake and believe it. Oh, I should have done that on camera. My bad. I drank out of my globe mug that my wife bought me. That's how cool she is. It's my first globe gift ever, is my globe mug, which is very strange. But anyway, let me see here. Want to see my globe mug? Look at this. Now this is what you must think is the like the North Pole ends at 80 degrees and then it's just like that. Maybe fall in there or something. I don't know. Thank you very much, babe, for the globular goblet. All right, so let's look at the super chats, shall we? We shall. Yes. Okay, let's check over here. What do we got? And there's top chat, and we're gonna go fan funding. Hopefully these come up on the screen. They should. All right, we got a few. Scroll up here. We've got Dave's Waffle House. Thank you very much for the $1.99. What's that happening? At the top. That's better. All right, we've got Rhino in the house. Rhino's $4.99 says, I'm going through the same drama, but when I'm wrong, I admit it. Thanks for having integrity and coming through with epic Antarctica footage. Thank you very much. Hopefully you are okay. I think there's a few of us. Maybe we're going to start a Flat Earth Anonymous support group or something for those of us who've gotten out. Because I think it's scary to see, if you're somebody who is a flat earther and you've watched what's happened to me or what's happened to Austin Thompson, you probably are afraid to leave. At this point, you're like, oh, I don't want to lose all my friends and be called a shill. So that is what a cult is. So just be careful. And I needed to show people as soon as I knew that the earth wasn't what I thought it was, that I needed to come out and say it, because I couldn't lie for one show. Couldn't lie for 1 minute on one show. So that's why right when I got back, I said I got to be honest with people. We've got Morticia, 14 SEC dollars. Nice. I don't know what SEC dollars are, but they must be good. We've got Addicted to Gaming, $5. Says Dubé has a voice that's like nails on a chalkboard. It's very, very, very feminine. That's all. But yes, it's a little bit feminine. I don't know what else you'd call it. Is it nails like it on a chalkboard? I don't know. What would if we asked Stephen Hawking, what would you say about his voice?
Oh yeah, I guess my voice can be a little annoying.
No, I asked you about. No. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. I was asking you about about somebody else's voice, not that. I'm just saying his voice is very feminine. So that's why I was asking you what you thought of that.
Slightly gay.
Oh, okay. Just slightly gay. Thank you, Stephen Hawking from the grave. It's always a great addition to the show. We've got Exposing Ma's Tricks. Jaron, your observations and hypotheses are wonderful, but science is an attempt to demonstrate they are wrong. What? Jaron, your observations and hypotheses, right, are wonderful, but science is the attempt to demonstrate that they are wrong. Correct. I agree with you on that. So I gave those 8 things. If any of those are shown to be incorrect, that's how you get me back into flat Earth. So great. Show me the time a believer set out to disprove themselves and failed. What? Show me the time a believer set out to disprove themselves and failed. Anyone checked if Orion's belts buckled? I don't know what you mean by that. Show me the time a believer in what? So why not? Why isn't what I did that? So you're saying I was a believer in flat Earth, and I set out to disprove myself. Well, I set out to observe, and failed. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, it happens all the time. Anyone checked if Orion's belts buckled? I don't know what that means either. Sorry, I should show you understood that better. Culture Cat says, here's your shield check. 5 pounds. I do not believe that's what we agreed on. That's going to be rough. I thought that the 5 meant like a couple zeros after that. Guess not. All right, well, we have to deal with it. Jacob Martin for $5 says, knowing what you know now, do you think that some in the FA community are not actual flat earthers and are just there to make money or other reasons? Well, yeah, obviously. But I think that more than that, it's just not being able to see it or just not listening to anybody that is on the other side. So I've already been dismissed by most people that are in the flat earth. So they're not listening to me because they feel like if something's coming from outside the Bible, that it means it's from Satan. If something's coming from outside of the flat earth, it's from Satan, right? So I've been possessed, like that person said. I've sold my soul. It has to be something else. It can't be that they were wrong about what they thought. They have to play it on something else. So most of them probably think that I've been compromised or that I'm saying things that I'm being told to say, which they should still listen, because whether it's I've been told to say it or not, you should listen to the things being said and decide if they have merit, because it shouldn't matter if I was told to say it, which I wasn't. In fact, some things I came up with completely on my own. No one ever told me in the 10 years about the idea of being in Antarctica and seeing the sun and coming to the realization that, oh shit, I could just walk towards the southern sun every day and eventually I would end up at the South Pole. And then thinking to myself, well, what if somebody was over there in Antarctica or over there? What would they see? And then I kind of pictured the sun and I go, oh, they would just walk towards the southernmost part of the sun as well. And then I said, well, what about somebody on the other side of Antarctica? Would they? And then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, to them, the sun's going to be higher in their north. South is going to be lower. So if they walk towards the southern part of their sky, and then I hit me, the South Pole exists. The South Celestial Pole exists. That the flat Earth is untenable with those two things. It's one of the, both are part of the 8. So thank you for that very much. We've got Motor Parts Guru Restoration Channel. Thank you very much. $5 says, Jaron, your journey gives me hope for humanity. Keep growing. Thank you very much. I would like to say I've got a little of hope, but I don't know how many people are going to. I did get a couple emails, maybe a dozen-ish people who said, thank you very much for this. I'm backing away from Flat Earth. I've never commented. I've never posted, but I have been a Flat Earther secretly or in public, but I'm going to back away. So it is some people that are recognizing what I'm saying. And again, you are free to believe in the Flat Earth if you want to. I don't take away anybody's personal beliefs. If it doesn't make you a bad person, that's fine. The problem is that Flat Earthers feel like they can play in the scientific realm, and that they need to realize they cannot. You cannot come to a debate and say, I have no model, I make no claims, or else you should not make words with your mouth. At that debate, you need to go away. Go back to the drawing board until you have things that are testable, because just having no claims and no map means that you have no entrance ticket to the debate. So just accept that and be like, I'm just going to believe in Flat Earth because I feel like it's a Flat Earth, but then don't try and argue with people who are actually doing things in the world and making predictions because you're not at that point yet. Now, maybe eventually you'll get there, or maybe eventually you'll realize that having a position that is not able to be argued with somebody is a problem, right? So if you just tell everybody you meet, I believe in the Flat Earth, and they say, well, why do you believe that? And you're like, well, it's just my belief. Probably people will leave you alone. But it's when you start making claims like, well, the Flat Earth is true because the Earth is flat and the sun goes around it and the outskirts are Antarctica. Now you got a problem. Now you're making claims. Now you're showing things that are not evidenced. And if you're in a scientific debate, you need to make claims. That's what science is, right? So ultimately our goal in science, or what I think it should be, is to find out which claims best match reality. Right? Which claims best match reality? It's that easy. And if you're talking about the globe Earth versus the flat Earth, there's clearly one that matches reality and clearly one that has made attempts to match reality, but has come up short time and time and time again. Now, granted, if it was just down to, well, what feels better for our senses? And you're like, well, I feel like it's a flat Earth and I don't feel like I'm on a sphere. Then that would win. But that's unfortunately not what science ends at, right? You have to be able to say, wherever you think you are, does it match what we see around us? And right away, if we look at the sun, the flat Earth doesn't match. We look at the sphere, it matches. Okay. So if there was just that one, maybe you'd find something else that's flat Earth pro, or more for flat Earth than it is the globe. The problem is that we don't really find anything like that. We keep striking out when there's something that the flat Earth tries to explain that really doesn't jive. Now, I do think there's some things, like for instance, let me just explain some things that the flat Earth may be better at. I think that the seasons are better explained by the flat Earth, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't match reality on everything else. So just because you match reality on one thing, and again, it doesn't match because the Tropic of Capricorn goes the wrong way. But I'm just saying, if you look at the map and understood the oh, when it's close to us, it's summer. When it's far away, it's winter. That makes sense. Now, on the globe map, you have to say that, oh, when it's close to us, it's our winter, if we're talking about the people in the north. And when it's further from us, it's our summer. Now, that's just, does it match what we see? Does it match reality? Well, when you look at their whole model, it does make sense. Their model makes sense. But I'm saying for us, we might look at that and say, I don't think that jives. Okay, great. Then you have to present something that better matches reality. So if we only have the flat earth map, and that's what we come forward and say, hey, this better matches reality, they're just going to point out, well, your tropic goes the wrong way. And how does the sun work in the south? Why is it going backwards? Why is it going upside down? So then we run out of things we don't have answers for that. So just because you have one little thing you have to have a complete model that can make predictions, that can make accurate predictions, and that the world can use to get better, to fly planes more accurately, whatever. So the problem becomes that the flat earth strikes out in many of those areas. And as far as the map of the earth, and this is why I have a new saying for closing my show out, which is simply going to be, remember that you can tell the shape of the earth by using the lights in the sky. You can. Despite what flat earth may tell you, it's just a flat earth talking point. It's the same thing as when they say, the reason they say you can't tell the shape of the ground by looking at the lights in the sky is because if you do that, you find out that flat earth is not right. So their only option is to say that, because their other option is to be like, oh, we got to go home now. We're done. So they're not going to do that. So you are going to be told this. So just when you repeat those things, make sure you understand why they're being said, because it doesn't jive with reality. Basically, if you know the path of anything above your head, and when I say know the path, you have to know it. Okay. So this isn't like on a whim. We know the path of the sun. Okay. We know the path precisely as far as how it goes around the earth. Once you know that, you can use that to determine if a map of the ground is correct, right? And like I said, if you have lights that you know are on the ceiling, and then somebody says, okay, Jaron, here's a map of your house. And I look at the house, but on the map it shows it's a cube. So there's like edges that I fall down. Well, I could walk around with that map and be able to determine by looking at the sky and looking at, like, no, this doesn't work. This map is not correct. I can't live on this box, or else when I went down the side here, the lights would move, but they don't. So what I'm saying is you can actually use the lights in the sky. That sound is driving me crazy. I have to get something fixed. It's not this. It does sound like it when I move this. Anyway, so you can use the lights in the sky to determine the shape of the ground. You can determine, and again, here's where that original saying was and where it does make sense. You cannot look at the shape of lights in the sky and use that to determine the shape of what you're on. That is true. That does not follow. It doesn't logically follow. It's a non sequitur, right? If you're saying, well, the moon is a sphere and the sun is a sphere, therefore we're a sphere, that doesn't logically follow. Now, granted, does it kind of make sense when you look at everything and you're like, well, everything's a sphere? Then still, it doesn't mean just because everything's a sphere that you're a sphere, right? If dogs looked around and said, everybody who lives in this house is a human, I'm a human, that's not right. Or if we looked around and we were just a bunch of dogs around us, we can't say, oh, these are all dogs, I'm a dog. So those don't logically follow. But you can use the path of lights in the sky to determine if the map of the ground is correct. Now, again, you have to be pretty damn positive about the lights in the sky, right? So the sun is something that we're pretty damn positive about. It's got a path that we know that you can actually stand underneath it. You'll never see no shadows south of the Tropic of Capricorn or north of the Tropic of Cancer because the sun's never there. So we know that the path of the sun. So therefore, once we know that path, you can take a map. Somebody can give us the flat earth map. We can look at it and say, this doesn't match reality. Somebody can give us the globe earth map and we can say, oh shit, this matches reality. The globe map. And that's what I want people to understand more than anything. You cannot take a place and map it onto a sphere and have it match observations, or else it was originally a sphere. Does that make sense? There's no way you can take, it doesn't matter if we're on a triangle, doesn't matter if we're on, well, I was going to say a cylinder. I'm wondering if a cylinder is not exact. Well, you're still going to have problems at the end of the cylinder. But if you take a location and you map it somewhere it's not, it will never match observations. Because a sun going around a flat earth does different things than a sun going around a sphere earth. So you can't have one or the other. I used to think, and this is what I asked Toon, I said, Toon, can cartographers and projectionists map a flat earth onto a sphere? And he says, yes. And I kind of took that as like, haha, okay, I knew they could trick us if they wanted to. But then I wasn't thinking about observations, right? So I'm just thinking, could they fool people? Let's say there's no sun, there's no stars in the sky. Nothing. There's nothing in the sky. It's just blackness or daytime. Well, they know where the stars are getting day if there's no sun. But let's say that it's just the sky is bright. We don't know why, but we live on something, and there's no sun or moon, and there's no stars. Okay, so could those people take the flat Earth and then project it onto a sphere and convince people they lived on a sphere? Yes. And those people might be fooled, and they're like, we really live on a flat Earth, but we don't know that. It's very true. It's very possible to do. You could have a map, and you'd be walking around the map, and it would still make some sort of sense, but the observations of the sky would fall apart. Because you can't have something going around a flat plane do the same thing going around a sphere Earth. Again, we have problems like upside down. On a sphere, people are upside down. People on one side versus the other are upside down from each other. So that would have to be shown in reality. Well, guess what? We have a sun and moon that show us that we are upside down in different places. So the sphere Earth matches observations. The flat Earth fails at pretty much all of them. So that's how that goes. Sorry, I'm going to keep going on these. We've got Coney says, a good education, Jaron. Thank you. All right, I'm glad you did some good there. Let's celebrate his 3rd ever live stream donation. Thank you very much. We've got Dib. Is that your name? Dib. Welcome to the Jeranism Club. Very cool. We've got, I thought I said Eric Dubé. We got Death. Death, can you get the hell out of here? I'm not planning on seeing you for a little while longer. 99 cents. Thank you very much, Death. That's their first super chat on a live stream. How about that? We could give them a round of applause if we want to. Going to get this soundboard working a little bit better pretty soon, but how about that? Okay. Small crowd. What are you going to do? We've got Hans. Hans gave us, it's a long clap, though. Quiet down, audience. Hans says nothing for 65 sex dollars. It's not the kind of sex dollars I'm thinking about. I hopefully not. We've got Kevin Slick says you're doing a great job teaching and making it relatable. All right, well, hopefully. The problem is I know that Globe believers that are watching this already know this stuff, so it's more not intended for them. And hopefully there's a couple straggling flat earthers left behind, but I usually don't recognize anybody in the chat. We've got Computer Dog says, I agree. Sunrise, sunset times show flat earth is wrong, but they've been inoculated against reason with the looking up doesn't prove the ground is. Yeah, I know. And just for the record, I just want to always point out where I've been honest the whole time. You'll never find me saying that. If you find me saying that, it was years ago, and I would be saying it to somebody who told me the sun's a sphere, the moon's a sphere, we're a sphere. I said, no, that doesn't follow. You can't tell the shape of the ground by the lights in the sky. And then when I saw them start using that for the Antarctica thing, I was like, no. I said, no, you can use the lights in the sky to determine if your map is correct or to determine if it, and they just ran with it. And everybody started saying it, and I was like, oh boy, because I knew that wasn't correct, that you can tell the shape of the ground. So because if you have a map, then you can make sure that it jives with the reality around you. And that's what the sphere Earth does. So let's go here. We've got Foxworth Kerman. Says, now you're also a CASA shill. CASA is greater than NASA. What is CASA? I don't get it. Am I mixing it? What about CASA? I don't get it, really. Should I get that joke? I'm neither one, but I'll hate to say. So no one's given me any money. Nobody's offered me anything. Nobody's presented me with a vehicle. Nobody's given me a new home. Nobody's put any money in my accounts. Nobody's sent any cryptocurrency. None of that. So, unfortunately. We've got Jay Watkins says, did your viewers increase since you left Flat Earth behind? No. What do we have now? 415? That's about what it was, and 8 or 10,000 at the end of a week or so. So no, it increased for like a week or 2 or 3, but subsided. So it's certainly not for that reason. And I think, you can't look at subscribers because many people that are subscribed don't watch anyway. So I would say the viewers have not increased, no. We've got Parody Mike. Says, so if the globe is true, is Sandy Hook, Boston bombing, and 9/11 also true? Well, again, that's not a logical conclusion that you can be drawn from that. It makes me rethink things, and I will have to go back to the drawing board and think about things. But as far as just because of that, no. Just because the globe is true does not make every other thing that ever I thought was fake also true, but it does make, or also false, whatever way you want to look at it. But also, it makes me reconsider things. Especially because people that I considered great researchers about those subjects have shown themselves to be terrible researchers. Terrible. So, I mean, this is why I think what happened with TFE was hugely eye-opening when it comes to the level of research that these guys do. So you've got like Flatzoid, who continues on his show every day to make a joke of himself by continuing to just call the trip fake, and everything that they do, they're running through this fake filter that they already believe in, and they just don't realize how dumb they look to me, right? Or to everybody. I mean, that's the thing they don't realize is Toon and his audience knows that the trip was real. Duffy and his audience knows the trip was real. Critical Think, Dave McKeegan, all those people know the trip was 100% legit. So to watch these guys flounder, and see, the difference is when you're talking about like the moon landing or something like that, there's some question. Even people who believe in space and everything have some questions about the moon landing. So you at least have that question to where people aren't immediately looking at people and just discounting them. Now they might, majority of people might, but especially when you're talking about other lesser known conspiracies of whether or not anybody actually knows, there's some questions there. But in this case, people know that the trip was real. It's not even a matter of knowing that the Earth is flat or sphere. They know the trip was real. So to watch people who are simply calling it fake without any evidence at all, it's kind of funny indeed. But it also just shows you that, I mean, there's people I thought were good researchers who have just, I used to think Eric Dubay was decent. I used to think he was a good researcher. I'd watch his videos and listen, okay, and think he did all the follow-up needed. Then he came out with a video saying that it didn't matter if we saw a light in the sky going around because Lady Blunt admitted it in 1900. But she also said in the paragraph right below that, yeah, we acknowledge that there's a 24-hour sun in the south. We can't explain it, but we still remain flat earthers. So that's been the case for 100 years, 125 years. So people should start to recognize that for Eric Dubay to come out, it's like, oh, we always known it was true. Well, then why are in your proofs does it say 3 or 4 proofs about the southern sun and the 24-hour sun? So you knew that Lady Blunt said that, but you just, okay. So regardless of what his reasoning for that was, my assumption was, okay, he's just going to go with it doesn't matter. And that's fine. People are free to say it doesn't matter. We go down there, we come back, and then we find out he's putting out a video saying that we faked it. Well, considering we didn't, do you think I'll ever listen to a thing that Eric Dubay says again? Do you think I'll ever consider him a decent researcher if he made the most ridiculous assumptions and conclusions that we're in a studio because Amazon Studio exists, therefore we're in a studio? No, that doesn't follow. He showed you an Amazon Studio and says, Amazon Studios now exist where they make movies like The Mandalorian. That doesn't prove we were in one. You're just bringing up things that exist in the world. That doesn't make it true. If I said to my wife's the best looking woman in the world and you're like, well, let's see her so I know. And I go, well, here's this girl, Kate Upton, and she exists. Well, you'd be like, yeah, but that's not your wife. Well, but Kate Upton exists. Big deal. Well, I'm just saying. So that's the same thing he's doing. He's saying, well, the studio exists. Yeah, but they weren't in it. Yeah, but the studio exists. Okay, well, thank you for bringing that up. That really helped us out. Anyway, that's kind of answered your question there. We've got Computer Dog $2 who pulled his message back, it looks like. Okay. Computer Dog for $5 says, I'm a super chat noob. Sorry. My last chat was meant to be a reply to someone else, but I'm glad you have I'm glad you've come to the dark side anyway. Well, thank you very much for that. That is your 5th super chat, by the way. All right, we are good and dusted, I believe. Yes. All gravy. What are these? I've never even noticed these number 1s over here. So what is that? I didn't even notice that. That tells you the number of super chats that they've sent. Didn't ever see that before. What is that little thing next to it? That's weird. Don't know what that is. All right, so I got to get ready for crypto class. Thank you guys very much for being here. Oh, wait, we got one other thing to do. Hold on. Let me see if we've got this up and ready. We've got the Dirtball of the Week, of course. Can't do without that. Let's see where that... And by the way, there is a song coming for it pretty soon. For now, it is the Dirtball of the Week. You know how that goes. We've got to pick one. And who's it going to be? Yes. Many dirtballs exist. They are everywhere. Look around you. You might have somebody next to you that is a dirtball, but you should probably tell them, knock them on the shoulder and say, hey, you're a dirtball, and you probably shouldn't be anymore. And then they would get a chance to fix their dirtballness, because otherwise people are going to call them dirtball every day. And for today's Dirtball of the Week, it has to be Brian's Logic if you don't know who he is. What makes me laugh about the entire Brian's Lodge, all those guys from the Nathan show that are just out of their minds. He keeps doing these videos about the shadows problems at the camp. And he did this one the other day where he had to throw me in there, of course. Like, thanks a lot for that. Let me have you hear what he said about me. Oops, I don't remember the time stamp where he said it.
Right.
Right in here somewhere.
Here is, right, 5.2. Take away the elevation profile, right? When I click raised up,
oh, you can't see it.
And now he's saying the viewer can't see where the shadow is here, this shadow that he's brought in incorrectly, using the sun incorrectly. And he's saying that's why the shadow cut off. We're seeing the shadow right there. Like he's saying, see the way we see the shadow here, right along.
Does anybody else struggle so much with his voice? It sounds to me like somebody gave him a pile of shit and said, hey, you got to chew on this the entire time you make your video. He's like, what? Why? Just chew on this pile of shit. It's required. For you to make a video on YouTube, chew on this pile of shit while you're doing it. All right, I guess I will do that. And then he has to do that. So I feel bad for him that they make him do that. I'm not sure who it is exactly that makes him do that, but it's not cool. I would have a talk with him and just be like, do you really need to do that? I'd rather just hear him talk. I don't really want to have to listen to him chew on that shit the whole time. But what are you going to do? He's trying to find, what did he spell my name wrong in here? Nope. Good for, I guess. Probably, I'm trying to search the transcript and it's like shit in mouth, shit in mouth, shit in mouth, and it won't even actually search anything. That's weird. See here, I thought I had the timestamp, but oh, I know who has it. We'll go here and go down here and go up here. Excuse me. All right, so we got this one here. Let's find it. Okay, there we go. Let's go. Timestamp for this one. That's better. All right,
purple line, 2 meter viewer. Everything else is raised up, and now he's saying the viewer can't see where the shadow is here. This shadow that he's brought in incorrectly, using the sun incorrectly, and he's saying that's why the shadow cut off. We are seeing the shadow right there. Like he's saying, see the way we see the shadow here, right along here. I just make it a bit bigger so everyone can see. Right, he's saying now this is from the observation camp. This is not from this camp. Right, this is where the things get really tricky in a way.
What?
See this? The way there's like a straight line shadow. The shadow never covers anything. It's always right there. He's trying to say that the reason that happens from the observation camp, right? That he's placed out of that he's placed this person at is because they can't see over all these big undulations. So they can't see the shadow because of a 14.13 degree angle to the sun, right? Then at that point, when they're getting that angle, just the base camp would have to be, right, blocked from seeing the sun. Now, how far close would the base camp have to be blocked? It'd have to be at least that close to be blocked, wouldn't it? It would have to be that close to be blocked. Right, because if it's anything further out, they'll be able to see it.
Let him take the shit out of his mouth,
so it would have to be that close or closer to be blocked from seeing the sun. The claim is they had to move, remember, from the base camp to the observation camp, so they could see the sun for 24 hours because the sun is blocked by Mount Rossman for 2 to 3 hours of the day from the base camp. Even after they'd done the whole TFE thing, Jaron Campanella, he's good for something it seems, Jaron Campanella said in his first video, when he first spoke, whether he was on his video or on Will Duffy's video, when he was speaking, he was saying that they had to move the camp, and do it at a different location, which is the observation camp, because the sun is blocked by Mount Rossman.
Right, so just to make it clear to everybody, we were told that there's a chance that sun would go behind or at least be very close to the mountain. So that's what we all assume. So when we get there, and we're told, okay, the other camp's over there, we're all going to go to the other camp. My assumption was, the reason we're going to the other camp is because the sun is blocked by that mountain. So I said, we're going to the other camp because the sun blocks that mountain. The mountain blocks that sun. Okay, so then we'll continue here.
For people at the base camp. And he said after the whole TFE thing, when he was at the base camp, right, then a day or so later, he was saying, oh, it's great here. We got to have a shower and all the rest of it. But he said, It's freezing cold when the sun goes behind Mount Rossman, he said. So
Right. So again, we get back from, remember, the night of the 14th, we would have spent the night at the camp, the secondary camp. So the night of the 15th, we get back around midnight. So the sun is going to be sitting off to the right of Mount Rossman. And we were dead tired. We hadn't even been in the tents yet. So we all went to bed. That night was freezing cold. The whole night was cold. I think I got up to go to the bathroom once. And when I came out of the tent, the sun was over maybe an hour, 2 or 3 hours past the mountain at that point. So I assumed, because we were told we had to go to the secondary camp, that I assumed that the sun was behind that mountain. Now, if you're doing the geometry on it and you figure out that it's not behind the mountain, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Who cares? You didn't find out anything. You didn't expose anything. You just are, you're just going down rabbit holes that have no rhyme or reason. They don't have any conclusion that's even worth reaching. Let me see what I said here. I said, wow, this is so dumb. To think this is deceptive by any means is pathetic. I can't imagine why anybody would watch you, Oakley Flatzoid, or any of you fools. This may be the first time I actually learned something from you. But remember that we were at halfway camp the night of the 14th, so I was told to go that it goes behind the mountain. So that's what I believed and said. So then the night of the 15th, we get back very late, midnight maybe, and I went straight to bed, spending our first night in the tent. It was cold and we hadn't slept. So I was in my tent during the entire time that during the entire time I assumed that the sun was blocked. It was windy, very cold, so perhaps it never did go behind Mount Rossman, but it was very close. The sun reaches its peak, it looks like, on the 356th day of the year, so that is a bit of a limbo time. Way to go, Inspector Jacques Cousteau. You just got to the bottom of this one, and oh, what do you know? It's a revelation that you brought forward. Well, I'm kidding. There's no revelation here. Just more worthless garbage from this camp. So, Brian, you are the very cool Dirtball of the week. What are you going to do? Even your eyes and teeth are brown. You're the best around. You are the Dirtball of the week because you just keep, and this is not the first video you've done on this shadow thing. It's like he keeps doing these videos over and over and over again, like he's uncovered something. What he's uncovered is that the people who live in Utah, who give directions about the camp down there, aren't sure about what days exactly the sun goes behind that mountain because usually it wouldn't fucking matter. So when somebody's going there and they're like, hi, I'm Will, and I'm going down there with a group because we're going to film the sun, they probably say to themselves, oh, well, there is a chance that the sun goes behind that mountain because it does most of the time. And again, you can go, do we still have this open? If we do, we've got a chance. Come on, where's that? Did we get rid of Shane's model? We got rid of Shane's model. Yeah, it's gone. Shane's model is the one that you can see because it's got that dip of the sun. Oh, boy. Let me find it real quick. Just because I want to show you so you can see what I'm talking about. That is a very close period of time where you're at, like, I guess you would call limbo. So can we hate on ALE for telling us that? No, ALE was actually being nice by saying the marathon is going to have a halfway point of that marathon track, and you guys can use the camp out there, and at least if you get that far away, then you know for sure it's not going to go behind the mountain. So they were actually just looking out for us. So if you've done the math on it, Dirtball, and you figured out that it's not behind the mountain, that doesn't mean anything. Nobody was being deceptive. You didn't uncover anything. You're wasting your time. I've already told people, if you think any part of this trip was fake, Flatzoid and your clown brigade. By the way, speaking of that, hey everybody, it's Flatzoid. We're here with a bunch of people that don't know shit, and we're going to be talking about the trip again, saying it's fake even though it was 100% real. Should be exciting. Join us. I'm Flatzoid. I'm Flatzoid. I'm Flatzoid. I'm Flatzoid. All right, that's Flatzoid's entrance song, I think. So anyway, going to Shane's model here, and we're going to bring this over just so you can see what I'm talking about. If we go to exactly where Mount Rossman was, so we're going day of the year, 355, okay, which is about the day we were at. Well, what are we at? We were at the 14th, so how many days is that less than 365? So 31, 14 would be 16, 17 days. 365 minus 10, 355 minus 7, 348. So we're going to go to 348 on the day of the year. There we go. And we're moving our, it went down to 345. Let's go 340. Can I use the arrows? Wow, nice. All right, and then we go observer latitude. We're going to negative 79. And there. Now, can you see this, or are you watching something else? Sorry, you're watching something else. Good thing I reminded myself. Let's go here. There we go. And we're doing 81 degrees this way. Okay. So we were about there. And like I said, if we watch the sun, okay, so this yellow line. I don't know why the moon is in there as well. But, all right, see this yellow line here? All right, and you can watch it. There we go. All right, so as we move the daytime around, you'll see that come around midnight, you're going to see that the sun is back here, right? So the question is Mount Rossman sitting here, is it blocking the sun? Well, here's the thing. If you look at the days as we move, now I'm going to move the days. Watch how this ring lowers. I'm going to move it forward at first and rises. So here it comes lower. It goes up, hits the very top there and comes down and goes away. That's what it does there. So ALE was just saying that they weren't really sure because it gets right here at the times that we were there. It's kind of at the top. It's kind of, is it going to keep going up? Is it right? So literally there's only a few days that it's above the mountain, right? There's only a few days because if it's at the peak and it's, you know, the peak of its height, which was right in there somewhere, see where it kind of maxes out? It's kind of hard to tell. Where does it max out? Let's see if we can, zoom in here so we can see any better. Can I get to it? Oh, there we go. So here, picture there's a mountain here. We don't know if it goes behind, but you'll notice that where does it max out? So it goes up, actually does a little like, see right there? So that right there is the in-between and right after and right before it. It's behind the mountain. So again, Brian, you are the Dirtball. All right, we got a couple other super chats just to finish it off. We got Timothy Honeycutt says, which flat earth proof is hardest for you to reconcile with the globe? I think just, you know, like water lying flat. I mean, that whole idea, because you'd have to believe that the oceans bend. And I think that for the hardest, you kind of think very locally and you're just like, I've never seen the ocean bend. It looks like the ocean ramps up. But you have to kind of look at things as, well, everywhere along the ocean is flat and level. It's just, if you pull back, if you zoom out of the earth, that's when you see the sphere. That's when you understand the whole picture of it all. So I think it is kind of counterintuitive. And I do think that the globers a little too much make it seem like it's intuitive. And it is based on things that we can gather around us and then make a decision. But as far as in and of itself, no, living on a sphere doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just the facts, right? It's just true. And so that's the hard part, is that for many people, they feel like our senses need to match. And again, that's why I keep bringing up, do you feel like you have bugs in your tummy? Because you can go, take some stuff out of your stomach and look at it through a microscope, and you're going to see that there is bugs in your tummy. Now, you might not feel that way. You might think like, there's no bugs in my tummy. But then we can look at evidence, and that evidence shows you the truth, and then you have to change your opinion. So flat earth is the same way. Once you've been shown the things I showed tonight, like the top 8, you should know that at this point, there is no more question. Death says, I believe you and are being honest. Thank you, Death. Come on the phone booth podcast. Reach out on Telegram, t.me/Jeranism. I don't know if I want to mess with Death too much, though, Death. You have any friends called Life? Get your friend Life to call me. You should have another co-host on your show anyway. Death and Life, they should both be there. All right, guys, we're listening to the outro on the way out of here. A reminder to everyone to do your own research, because when you do, you realize that the lights in the sky can prove the shape of the earth. Till next time, guys, this has been Jeranism. It has been Friday Unplugged. Can't wait for next week. Be here or be square. See you soon. Crypto class starts in a half hour. Till then, peace.
F you to the stress, to the grind, F you to the haters. Every time, F you to the drama, to the hype, F you to the mainstream, pushing lies. Unplugged from the majors. It's Friday night, unplugged with Mr. Honest and sometimes right. F you to the left, to the right, and F you to the elite parasite. F you to the noise, F you to the fakes, F you to all you weak snowflakes. Friday unplugged, unfiltered and real. Are you offended? How you feel? F you to the sleep, F you to the woke, to the trolls in the chat, you're an effing joke. F you to the sleep, F you to the woke, to the trolls in the chat, you're an effing joke. This ain't a trap house, but your mind's getting drugged. Type of Jeranism, Friday Unplugged. This ain't a trap house, but your mind's getting drugged. Type of Jeranism, Friday Unplugged.
Become a VIP, wap.com/Jeranism. Talk to you soon. Peace.